CBS. Welcome home.
The most compelling action is on CBS Sports.
Daddy, I found something!
Well, Dad, on this Father's Day, Winston Cup race fans have found two drivers sharing the point lead. Daytona winner Jeff Gordon's won 5 more, and he's tied with teammate Texas Terry Labonte.
Go as fast as you can.
Dale Jarrett's gone fast enough to win twice this season, as has Mark Martin. It's been an up-and-down adventure for Rusty Wallace this year. Ricky Rudd won 2 weeks ago in Dover. But now we're in Brooklyn, Michigan, where the list of previous winners in this sleepy little town looks like a who's who of racing. Yarborough, Baker, Pearson, Allison added to their legend here. Rusty Wallace won a year ago, and while the King has won in Michigan, the young prince in number 24 is 0 for 8 on this track. Is Michigan Speedway his lost world? Could today be the day he finally gets the dinosaur off his back? The Michigan 400, 29th running. On this Father's Day, you couldn't have a more beautiful day for a race. 107,000 sold-out seats, untold thousands in the infield, awaiting the start of this $1.5 million race. $1.5 million up at stake, and earlier today, Father's Day meant a lot to Ward Burton. He was playground supervisor with Sarah and Jeff. That was just off turn 2. Meanwhile, Bill Elliott's here with Chase on Father's Day. And David Green with a new entrant. Diane has Kaylee there. Ricky Rudd and Landon, they're sure liking Dad's Day. And there's a brand new entry, Jesse with Chad Little. It's a 2-mile facility over which they're going to be racing, and just one day ago, it bit and bit hard. This man, the 6-time winner this year, Jeff Gordon. He was in turn 3, 180 miles per hour. Underneath Earnhardt, car breaks loose, slams the wall. It takes out Jeff Burton and Dick Trickle. They all go to reserve cars today. But the big story, Gordon coming in on fire here. He walked away. Not so fortunate was Jeff Burton. They took him to the Foot Memorial Hospital, Jackson. The report is he's okay, no broken bones, and he's going to start that number 99 today. How long can he go? How well can he run? Big question for Jeff Burton, the winner at Texas on CBS earlier this year. With more on the story of these two, let's go trackside. Here's Dick Berggren.
Jeff Gordon came to Michigan International Speedway, tied for the points lead, but with that big crash yesterday, he's had to go to a backup car. Rules say that when they start the race, he'll have to go to the back of the field, and without many laps to try this car out. Question, Jeff, how is this backup car, and how are you?
Well, the car's pretty good. It's a real good race car for us, but we didn't get enough time to really adjust on it as much as we'd like to. So we're going to have to work real hard, rely on that pit crew a little bit today, and Ray and I are going to have to be communicating real well. As far as myself, my neck's a little bit sore, but for the most part, the car held up real well, the seat held up real well, and, thank Lord for my safety.
Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Jeff Burton slowly made his way out to the X-side forward and gingerly climbed aboard, suffering from multiple deep soft tissue bruises. Now, to help combat that today in the race, he's wearing an electric stimulator just like this one, which is wired to his ribcage area where the bruises are. Now, he will be able to manually adjust the intensity to help alleviate some of the pain. But even when you're 100%, 400 laps here, 400 miles here, it can be very tough. Jeff, how do you feel, and will you be able to go the distance?
Well, I certainly have all intentions of going the distance. The guys at Human Performance Center, they've done a great job on me, working with me for about 3 hours now. Spent a lot of time with me, and it's Father's Day. I got to do a good job for my dad.
If Jeff is unable to go the distance today, Morgan Shepherd will be standing by to fill in for him. Now to the front of the row with the story of the pole winner, here's Mike Joy.
Well, his son's not here. He's off racing. Jason's off running his own car, but Dale Jarrett has won his second pole this year. 5th of his career. You won Atlanta from the pole. How about it today?
Well, we'll just have to see what happens. I think we've got a good race car here. A lot of people have good race cars. This place is probably the best for competition that there is as far as racetrack goes, and should be an exciting race. We want to take a minute just to thank Roger Penske and all his people for the great facility they have and what they did for the families of the drivers and crews and the children especially. They just kind of set a standard, and we certainly appreciate it, and say Happy Father's Day to my dad.
We got a good look at that playground at the top of the show. Well, let's meet NASCAR's newest dad. John Hunter Nemechek was born to Joe and Andrea on Wednesday. And Joe responded with his second front row start of the season outside pole. Happy Father's Day, Dad. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great. I just got to say hello to Andrea and John Hunter, Mom and Dad back in North Carolina. I can't say enough for this whole Bell South Coors Light Chevrolet Monte Carlo team. Tony Glover and heading up all these guys, getting the excellent race cars. Keith Simmons, the engine guys, awesome engines, and we're starting to click.
He's not giving out cigars, maybe in Victory Lane. Let's go high atop Michigan International Speedway to Ken Squire.
Thank you, Mike. 43 drivers at the ready. We've got our own expert here, 50-time winner, 3-time dad, 6-time granddad. Ed Jarrett, you got your boy up in front. He's pretty excited about this race.
Well, he is, and he's got a great racetrack to race on here. In fact, this racetrack, most of the drivers like it, Ken. It's one of the widest racetracks they race on. It's fast, but if you have your car set up right, you can run on the low groove, you can run in the middle groove, or even you can run a high groove, depending on the setup of the car and, of course, the gearing that you might have in it. Now, yesterday during the ARCA race, there was a little bit of a problem up in turn 4. Jerry Streeter wrecked his car. It caught fire, slid down the banking a little bit, and Jerry was okay. Fortunately, 17 years old, this young man, he crawled out and walked away. But there was some damage done to the racetrack. So the track officials have come in, made repairs here. Everybody feels that it will be okay, but it's something we'll keep an eye on here today because it is in the groove.
12 feet up right there in turns 3 and 4 at the apex. Well, let's talk about some of the other athletes who can really pull this one off. Guys like Bobby Labonte, who won both races here in 1995 for Joe Gibbs.
Certainly he'll be strong. And how about Jeremy Mayfield? He's been on a hot streak recently. He has 2 straight top 5 finishes. Feels very confident running up front with the veterans.
Cold. 40 winless races for Earnhardt. My, how he wants to turn that around today, and he's got a real potential for doing it.
And one of the sentimental favorites here today is Dave Marcus. He's going for a record. Richard Petty has competed in 17,390 miles on this racetrack. All Dave Marcus has to do is run 107 laps here today, and he'll tie that record.
Yeah, speed makes the difference, but fuel can make the difference as well. Ask the guys who lost last year to Rusty Wallace. For more on the story of how important fuel is on this track, here's Buddy Baker.
Michigan's famous for its 4-ride racing down the front straightaway, but that's not always the key to winning at Michigan. The key sometimes is fuel mileage. What you do if you're running back in a pack and you realize all of a sudden that you don't have the fastest car, you have to devise a way to win. So stretching fuel mileage sometimes can do it for you. So what you do, you stop at 48 laps and check your fuel mileage and you say, hey, we could have went 50 laps. And then you tell your driver, be careful, easy on the throttle. Work it through the corner, draft everything going your way. Let's see what we get on the next stop. Then you go 50 laps. And then you say, well, let's stretch it to 52. That was good. We have an advantage now. If we go green all the way to the end, it can win it for us. Rusty Wallace did this last year, and he did win.
Thank you, buddy. All right, let's go trackside.
Gentlemen, it's Miller time. Start your engines.
Live on CBS, coming up, the starting grid and the start of the Michigan 400.
CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Texaco, celebrating 10 years of racing excellence with Robert Yates Racing. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
The field starts to roll off here at the Michigan Speedway. The preliminary laps to the 29th running of the 400. Always a great race. great competition, and you'll be following some of the top cars today from top to bottom. Take a look at the weather here.
Perfect day. Temperature in the mid 70s, humidity very low. Winds might be picking up a little bit from that 11 miles an hour. Forecast is for clear during the afternoon. Track temperature about 115. In-car temperature as they start about 90 degrees. That'll go up too.
Let's meet some of those top cars who can make the difference in 400 miles. 200 laps of competition in this beautiful track. Take a look at the starting order for today's race. Dale Jarrett's on the pole, second time this year for the two-time Michigan winner, and Joe Nemechek alongside. For row 2, Ricky Craven, great qualifying run, and Sterling Marlin. In row 3, it's Ted Musgrave, and Wally Dallenbach has his best qualifying effort of the year. Row 4 is Johnny Benson Jr. from Michigan, and the winner in 95, Bobby Labonte. Going to row 5, you have Jeff Burton, the Texas winner, injured yesterday, and Jimmy Spencer. In row 6, it's a two-time winner of this event, Mark Martin, and the guy looking to turn it around, 0 for 8 on this track, Jeff Gordon. In row 7, you have Jeff Bodine and Jeff Green. In row 8, it's Jeremy Mayfield, 5th last week at Pocono, rising star, with Mike Skidder, leading candidate for rookie honors. Row 9, there you've got Dick Trickle, and with him, Terry Labonte, tied for the point lead. Row 10's Rusty Wallace, defending 400 champion, and Ernie Irvin. Row 11, Steve Grissom and Dale Earnhardt, the two-time winner of the 400. Row 12 is Chad Little and Bobby Hamilton. For row 13, Dave Marcus and Bill Elliott, the 7-time winner at Michigan. Row 14 is Ward Burton and Billy Standridge. Row 15, David Green and Ken Schrader. Row 16, Rick Wilson and Jerry Nadeau. In the 17th row, Kenny Wallace and Ricky Rudd. Row 18 is Brett Bodine and Lake Speed. For row 19 today, Hutch Strickland and Michael Waltrip. In row 20, there you have Kyle Petty and John Andretti. Row 21 is Rick Mast and Derek Cope. And all the way out back, DW, two-time winner here, takes a provisional Winston Cup champion start.
And of course, there'll be some cars dropping to the back. Jeff Burton has already done that in the car 99 because he had to go to a backup car. So did Jeff Gordon and Ward Burton and Dick Trickle. 4 cars having to drop back. You see Gordon dropping back there now.
Let's talk about those who failed to qualify for today's race. Pretty big, impressive list.
Yes, it is. You hate to see anyone have to go home. Ed Berrier, Gary Bradbury, Greg Sachs, Morgan Shepherd, and Mike Wallace all failed to qualify.
Okay, manufacturers breakdown. You got 21 Fords, you got 14 Chevys, 6 Pontiacs ready to fight it out here today. And Jeff Gordon has all 6 Chevy wins so far this year. Here's your race analysis.
Boy, I'm telling you, 200 laps of very good racing here. Fuel window anywhere from 45 to 50 laps. Total purse, $1,592,930.
Take a look at the in-cars for today's race. And let's start right with the top of the field. There's Dale Jarrett, the Quality Care Ford. He'll take you from the pole down into turn 1. Getting ready for green, and you'll meet 5 others a bit later, including Craven, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Mayfield, Terry Labonte, and Kyle Petty. Pace cars coming in. Get ready to go racing on Father's Day here at the Michigan Speedway. Jarrett brings him in, qualified on the pole at 183.6. 5th pole of his career. Down the back straightaway. Nemechek pressed to the outside. And Craven puts his foot down with the Chevy, but back on the inside comes Jarrett.
Who's going to lead this first lap? Craven has that outside groove. I think that's going to be the one. Yes, he will.
Newburgh Mays, Ricky Craven leads 1, and Nemechek pops up on the outside and goes to 2nd.
what we're talking about. 3 wide down the straightaway, 2 wide through the corner. They'll make it 3 if they have to. I tell you, this is a great racetrack for these types of cars. They're rocketing around here right now. Ricky Craven has to have confidence right on the top shelf right now.
Boy, Ernie Irvin got on the top shelf coming off of turn 2, buddy. He was way high in that turn, but got it squared away. There you see him right in the middle of the pack. But it's okay now.
So Craven leads, picks up a car and a half length. A little bit of a break. Back to the 4th place. That green car of Dallenbach had that great qualifying run. The record for this race set a year ago at 166 miles an hour. Wallace did it. There were 2 cautions for 8 laps. There have been a couple of these races that have gone caution-free.
And another Wallace has had problems here early. Kenny Wallace is already in the pits, Ken. Don't know what happened. He was about 15 cars from the back of the pack, and really cars had to scramble to get around as he came in the pits.
Look at Michael Waltrip on a tear here with Gordon from the rear, going under Jeff Burton in the 99. Already from 43rd, he is up toward 33rd. Jeff Gordon in the 24.
You can see Jeff is really trying to make up a lot of track position right now. It's very important to run as hard as you can right at the first of the race. When you make your pit stops, you want to come out with the leaders to keep that track position.
With more on the Kenny Wallace story, let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Ken, this is something that this team has been dealing with all weekend long, a blown motor. They're looking at it right now, trying to see if they can save it. They're about to push Kenny Wallace back behind the wall. This is the 3rd motor this weekend they have blown up. The motors that they get come from Robert Yates. We'll have to see if we have to keep our eyes on the 28 and the 88 if they'll suffer the same kind of problems today.
Ricky Craven stays out in front with a Rick Hendrick Chevrolet, but Musgrave is the man of the moment. He is flying. Ted Musgrave, one of the Roush Fords. And look at Earnhardt in number 3, peeling down to the bottom on the banking and going beneath the 2-time Daytona 500 champion Sterling Marlin.
Moving up into 11th place, Earnhardt is.
That's an answer for all you people that want to know, is Earnhardt still trying? He is definitely trying. He has the number 3 really hooked up today. He's pulled 5 car lengths on Sterling Marlin. And if you remember last year, Sterling Marlin was the car to beat all the way down to the very checkered flag.
Here's Craven out in front as we complete lap 5. 5 down, and Ricky Craven, who has a lot to prove. That terrible crash in Texas in practice. Banged up the shoulder. There goes Musgrave going beneath him. It's a Roush Ford down on the bottom. Hendrick Chevy on the outside as they wheel down that back strip. 2,200 feet long. Pinch him a little going into number 3. Great shot here. Those lenses taking you right down onto that racetrack as they fight their way into 3. It's a little tight there as opposed to turn 1 wide open. Musgrave out in front. Nemechek still in 3rd and wheeling up on the outside. It's Bobby Labonte. He won both occasions when they ran here at Michigan in '95. He's up to 4th. Dallenbach back to 5th. And Jarek, the pole sitter, in 6th and sliding back. Let's go to Dick Berger.
Ricky Craven has never won a Winston Cup race in his career, but he said that at Darlington this spring, he had entered that event thinking for the first time ever he had a legitimate shot to win. He was crashed out of that race while running strongly, a crash that he had nothing to do with and just no place to go. But he said just before the start of this race today, I'm starting to think this is going to be the first one that I could really win. They have a lot of confidence in driver and car in that team.
Right now, there's a pretty good dice developing between the car of Earnhardt and Mark Martin. They're back there at 8th, 9th, fighting it out.
Mark Martin was up in 7th place again, and he got down on the inside. He still, that's the white car you see coming right in there. Mark Martin. Now he gets back, or tries to get back up in line, but he lost about 6 positions while trying to get back up in line. The outside groove seems to be the better place to go right now.
And Earnhardt from 22nd up into 8th and 7 laps, and here he comes after Jimmy Spencer. Around they come, out of turn 4 and down the straightaway. I tell you, he's flying. That's the 99 car. Well, it looked like there was some smoke off that car for a moment. Burton right there.
What Earnhardt needs right now is he's in trouble. There goes Mike Skinner into the outside wall in turn 2.
Similar situation to what happened to Jeff Gordon in practice yesterday. Got down there and the car got loose with him. It's on fire.
Working lap 9 as they come back to the line. Hard hit for Skinner, and he's been fighting that car all week. He said it was extremely loose, a real handful, and you could see him break away. Here he is out running away from number 31, destroyed.
And give a call to those firemen, Ken. Boy, they were there right on top of that situation just seconds before they got there.
So Mike Skinner's misfortunes continue here in his 29th Winston Cup start. He's away. Helmet off. Hard ride down into the corner. Had started in 16th position. He's out motioning towards somebody. I don't think he's happy at all with Bodine, with Jeff Bodine in the 7, pointing at him as he came by. The top rookie, Mike Skinner, out of Susanville, California, loses the 31 big time.
He was right in the middle of the pack, or up towards the front of the pack, actually, and was fortunate no other cars were involved.
1995 Craftsman Truck Champion. Take a look at what happens here.
Okay, here is the 31 car of Skinner. There's the 7 car of Jeff Bodine. And it looks like Skinner goes up, and I'm sure he feels that maybe the 7 car of Bodine came down a little bit, but once that car broke loose, there was no saving it. Backs it hard into the outside wall, and you see how many cars go by down on the inside as the car stays up there and slides on the upper groove before it starts coming down, and that allowed most of the race cars to go by before he comes down.
Well, what happened there is that the fuel cell is really pulled apart as it hits the wall right here, and you see him coming across the racetrack. Mike Skinner's car is coming down, no fire there. It's working so far. Now it starts to light up as the sparks start running up the back of the car and sets the fire off.
Still another angle here.
I think once Skinner sees the replays of this, he realizes that Bodine held his line going in the corner. He did not pull down.
And this is Skinner pointing to Bodine, unhappy. And perhaps not after he sees the replay. He was running in 9th position when it broke away in turn 2 and slapped the wall. First caution. So we're working lap 12 at the present time. Mike Skinner, the first victim of this Michigan 400. More in a moment. Back at Michigan, let's go quickly to Dick Berggren.
Bill Elliott, a 7-time winner here at Michigan, has just made the second of 2 pit stops to repair damage to the left front. He was involved in that interaction. He has taken 4 tires and fuel, as has Jeff Burton. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Dick, no pit stops down here at the south end, but a lot of strategy here. Jared talking about track bar adjustments and other drivers discussing the merits of push versus lose. I think it'll be about 48 laps, certainly less than 50, before we see the first pit stops from the cars running up front. A little later in the race, they may stretch that past the 50-lap mark under green conditions, but certainly between now and 50 laps, we'll see visits here to pit road. Ken?
For sure, 48 to 52 the window, and you saw Skinner with that rear clip on that car completely destroyed. Big fire out of it, immediately extinguished by the great crews they have here in Michigan. He's been taken, he's Skinner, to the infield care center at the track, but we saw him walk away and look pretty heated as he walked away. Jeff Burton is pitting once again. It's like his 2nd or 3rd time on pit road under this caution period. Let's take a look at the in-cars today. You're riding with Dale Jarrett. He's currently in 5th spot with the Quality Care Ford Credit number 88. Ricky Craven is in 2nd behind Musgrave. There you see Musgrave just in front of him, that number 25 car, which is the Budweiser Chevrolet. The 99 car is on pit road. It was back in 40th position. Jeff Burton injured yesterday, still trying to give it a go. Here's Mark Martin. He's running in 10th position currently with the number 6, the Valvoline Ford. And Jeremy Mayfield, he's in 17th position right now. That Econolodge camera inside of Jeremy Mayfield's number 37 Ford. We've got Terry Labonte, as always, right up there. He's in 12th. wearing the Kellogg's car. He's got the Tiger on his hood for the first time. He says it's running great. Here's Kyle Petty, the Hot Wheels car, number 44. And Kyle fighting that one. He's back in 33rd position, hoping to get that car together. But again, handling problems have been bothering him. He was in talking to his dad yesterday for about 20 minutes about springs and shocks, how to get that car to stick in the corner. One lap, and we're going to go racing. That means at lap 14, we will be back under green. Here's Dick Burton.
Jeff Burton has made several pit stops. The problem is not with the car. The problem is with driver comfort. They are trying to set that seat up for him so that he can last the race. If he can't, Morgan Shepherd, who is standing by, has got the right uniform on, and he is ready to jump into that race car. Burton, however, hopes to go all day.
There's Jeff Burton.
Yeah, and Ward Burton had front end damage, and it came when he ran into the back of Dave Marcus and gave the nose of the car in.
Boy, I'll tell you, for those Burton brothers, there you see Jeff Burton right now. Those Burton brothers, Friday the 13th came a day late for these two. Friday the 13th struck them both on Saturday. Ward Burton wiped out his car in a practice run in the happy hour. Jeff Burton in that early morning crash, getting his machine destroyed, going to a backup car. And the caution is going to remain for another lap. So we're not going to see green fly this time by. CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 continues after this message and a word from your local station. Green just coming out as they scoot across the line with Musgrave first, Craven second, Nemechek in third, Bobby Labonte fourth here in the Michigan 400. And it's Ted Musgrave, the ranked Wisconsin driver, with a good start, jumping out in front by 3 car lengths as they hit the back straightaway over Craven. Dallenbach is 6. Earnhardt is up to 7th. He is coming from that 22nd starting position. Dale Earnhardt on a roll. Jimmy Spencer moving up, and Gordon is fighting his way from the back of the pack. He started here in 26, coming after Cope for 25th right now. Ralph Shaheen standing by on pit road with Mike Skinner.
Well, Mike has just climbed out of the infield care center. Mike, we saw you pointing at one of the drivers out on the track. What happened and what's it all about?
Well, apparently one of the other guys thought that we was racing for the last lap or something. He pinched me up, about got me in the wall over there on the backstretch a couple of laps prior to that, and I had a good run on him and turned under him under there, and he just kept on coming and coming and coming. I kept going until I got down the bottom, and I think he clipped the side of the car there and got it sideways, whatever. You know, the car got sideways and just took us out awful early. It was kind of a move that you might have expected a guy to make with 5 laps to go, but not the first 5 laps.
And the guy he's talking about is Jeff Bodine in the number 7 Ford. You saw him out there pointing to Bodine as Bodine came by a lap after he turned that number 31 to scrap.
Of course, we didn't know about the things that had happened the lap before that.
Musgrave, Craven, Nemechek, 1, 2, 3, and Gordon rolling from the back of the field is now up to 23rd. Meanwhile, the number 3 car is to 7th. Here's Earnhardt, and he is closing quickly, coming up on Dale Jarrett in the 88.
Earnhardt moved to 6th a lap ago and now is moving up on Jarrett, who is running in 5th place.
They dispatched Dallenbach. Look at Earnhardt coming in. Meanwhile, from the quality care Dale Jarrett viewpoint, the look of Earnhardt.
You see Earnhardt just behind Dale Jarrett. He's looking to the outside. This car is really hooked up the center part of the corner. If he passes Dale Jarrett on the outside, though, he's earned his money. Now you see him looking to the inside now as they head down the back straightaway.
Take a look at that. Hutch Strickland's picked up 18 spots for the Stavola brothers. And Singo, wow. Earnhardt, boy, he snapped that one through.
He almost snapped it through.
Right back.
He got sideways there, getting in the corner. He drove extremely hard in and got way up in the marbles there just for a second. But he got her back now.
Earnhardt coming by in 5th and seeking Bobby Labonte, the number 18, just in front of him. Dale Jarrett now back in 6th position, the pole sitter. Incidentally, that 183 nowhere near the record of 186. You can blame that all on a hot day. It was really warm out here and nobody got the kind of laps they wanted. The Saturday qualifying, the second day qualifying, they had 24 more horsepower under there just because it was cooler. Easier day to run these engines. Here's Earnhardt in the number 3, closing up on Bobby Labonte. There you see the interval from first to second to third to fourth to fifth. The black number 3 of Earnhardt.
We watch Ted Musgrove go down into turn 1. Jeff Gordon is on a tear right now. He's already up in the 19th spot from the very 42nd spot.
Good battle in front. Musgrave again. Craven coming up to close on him with that number 25 back straightaway, 2,200 feet long, and here's that turn number 3 where you do pinch it down a little to get in there.
You have to go right down on the bottom part. As you can see, they're running actually in the center part of the racetrack, and the reason they're doing that, and when they first repaved the racetrack, you couldn't go up there. Now you have a wider groove, and they use that higher groove to keep the RPMs up where they don't have to accelerate up out of the corner.
They do have to decelerate going into the corners here. Just a little bit. They don't back off a lot. Even though the banking is not very steep here, not compared to Daytona or Talladega. It's a very fast racetrack. Over 200 miles an hour down the front straightaway.
Well, it's 18-degree banking here, and Daytona's 32 degrees, so it's just about half. But as far as getting in the corner, you see these cars get great traction.
Following Mark Martin as he tries to go underneath 7th place Jimmy Spencer. And Mark picks it up a notch.
Mark had dropped back to 10th position there, got shuffled back down on the inside there a little bit earlier in the race, but now coming back, picking them off one at a time.
Up to about 200 miles an hour as he eases it into turn number 1. It's live here on CBS on this Dad's Day. Hope you're enjoying 29th running of this Michigan 400. Signal behind him to Spencer, who he had just passed. I presume he wants him to stay in line to see if they can't hitch up and go.
And look at Earnhardt moving up on Bobby Labonte. And Bobby Labonte's right on the back bumper of Joe Nemechek in the blue and white Chevrolet. Here they come at you. It's Musgrave, Craven, then Nemechek, Labonte, and Earnhardt.
Earnhardt in 5th behind the green car of Bobby Labonte. That's how they're deployed. They've added about 15,000 seats this year to bring them to 107,000. And they've been sold out for months, and for good reason. It's such a beautiful facility. And a track in its likeness opens next week out in California in Fontana. That one's sold out too. Unless they get some folks in the infield for sure. Seats, Winston Cup racing, they're at a premium.
Well, this is the largest infield crowd they've ever had here, Ken. They've rearranged and organized it really and marked it off and have reserved spots in the infield so they get a lot more people.
Look at Earnhardt closing in on Bobby Labonte. He seems for the moment to be willing to stay there. Showing 25 laps complete this time by. 175 remaining. Ted Musgrave, who's never won a Winston Cup race, stays in front. Now pressure being exerted by Mark Martin in the number 6 on the number 88.
And Ernie Irvin is moving up very fast back there also.
He's moved from 20th all the way up to 8th spot right now. Ernie Irvin is going through this traffic very, very well this early in the race.
Here's Labonte in the green car trying to make a move on Nemechek coming off turn 4, but he couldn't get enough momentum to go alongside.
And Jeff Gordon, he's up to 18th as he just went by Chad Loveland, Lake Speed. Flying. Front 5. Mark Martin just slices down to the inside. He's up to 6th. Jarrett falls to 7th. Bill Elliott, he's up to 22nd after he pitted. He was in and in again. Started 36 after that first caution. Look at Jeff Gordon continuing to knock him off. Here's Brett Bodine in the 11. Gone. Give it to Gordon. He's up to 17th. It's been nothing but kisses and hisses for him at every introduction. This was a similar day today. 100,000 people. They have an opinion. It reminds me of the days of Waltrip when he was up there in KLER. They never treated Ned Jarrett like that.
No way.
Gentleman Ned.
I'll tell you what,
Always
I got a
an
couple
ovation.
of them myself, and I'll give you one thing. The only real bad thing to hear is silence. That's the kiss of death as far as the race car driver is concerned.
Never happened with Earnhardt. Musgrave stays first. There you see him, and he stretches now. His advantage is about 0.4 of a second, and about 5-6 car lengths back to the red. Number 25, Craven there. Nemechek having a great run, but look at Earnhardt. Earnhardt from 22nd position, continuing to close him down.
Of course, he has disposed of Bobby Labonte. Earnhardt has now moved up to 4th. But Musgrave having a great run. His Ford just zipping around here and handling very well for him.
I believe this was the race. Wasn't it here that Rich Wilbur was supposed to drive? He lost his life the night before, and Musgrave got the ride. The rest is history. Got himself into Winston Cup racing. Killed at Salem Speedway. Right now, Musgrave for Jack Roush is having his best ride, staying in front. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Again, it's a bright sunny day, but there's a black shadow advancing on this field. Larry McReynolds with Dale Earnhardt's crew chief. Larry, he's come up really in a hurry. You've got a good package to start with here.
Really couldn't hear what you said, but you know, just comment about the car. We made a few changes this morning. We was pretty good yesterday afternoon, but just needed a little something extra. Dale and I talked about it last night, a little bit more this morning. Made some changes, and again, we've had such bad luck this year. I'm not going to get too excited. Got a long way to go, but it's good to see that Monte Carlo headed toward the front anyhow.
To Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, one of those changes they made was they took a half-inch out of the wide front nose of the Monte Carlo on both sides of the car. They just narrowed it up. They pulled it out and layered it up, pulling this in a half-inch on both sides. Larry McReynolds told me that was good for at least 0.3 of a second on the number 3. Ken?
And the number 3 is rocking and rolling right now. From 22nd into 3rd goes Earnhardt. 40 races since he's won. Only one top 5 this season. 10th a week ago at Pocono. But right now, look at him fly.
Look at Mark Martin coming up on the inside there, trying to move in right with Earnhardt. If they get hooked up, they can run the leaders down. But right now, everybody's kind of in single file. And it's really hard to pass cars when they draft here. Very much like Daytona or Talladega. You need to stay in the directly behind the car, but you can see Mark Martin handling very much better than Joe Nemechek as he passes through there.
Not wanting to mix it up in the early going, staying single file as much as they can here.
That hand signal was to thank him early in the race. It's a give and take sport, and you thank a guy like that. Later on, if he's running better, you let him do the same thing to you.
Ward Burton going down a lap, he with a rumpled nose after an altercation with Dave Marcus early in the going. Musgrave, the surprise in front. Craven staying in second, but look out, here comes the man in black.
This CBS Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Texaco, celebrating 10 years of racing excellence with Robert Yates Racing.
After 32 of the 200 laps have been completed, a couple of leaders. Musgrave has dominated most recently. Only 2 lead changes in the speed at 134 miles an hour after we had a caution for 6 laps in the early going. And 2 drivers have had to retire. Kenny Wallace is out of the race. His engine went away right at the beginning. And Mike Skinner, big crash in turn number 1 that created that caution period. The story up in front is a Ford Chevy story. Musgrave leading with Ricky Craven in second, and there you see the interval between them. Craven seems willing to just stay there, stabilizing this race. Line 5, car links back from Musgrave. Mark Martin has wheeled into 3rd, and Earnhardt is now relegated to 4th. Bobby Labonte in 5th, and Ernie Irvin, a man on a mission. He's up to 6th spot.
He's up to 6th, and he has a race car that is able to pass on the high side or low side, so look for Ernie Irvin to go right to the front.
From 20th position, the car with a star is back, looking like a meteor as it flits around this 2-mile facility. Live on CBS today, the Michigan 400. There you see Bobby Labonte just in front of him in 5th. I don't think he's going to hold that Robert Yates engine off for too long out there, Ned.
He is, as Buddy said, he can go anywhere on the racetrack that he wants to go, and certainly he has the horsepower on the hood of that 28, so he has steadily coming through traffic has been gaining on Musgrave.
A lot of rumors about him and that he might be out of the Yates team. To some degree, Robert Yates talked about it. They may have been dispelled this week, but there were all kinds of talk. Remember back in April that Irvin and Sterling Marlin were going to swap rides, and that still's brewing a little. It's the time of the year when rumors are going pretty well. Musgrave, Craven, take a look at this down to the inside. Great move there in that battle to third.
That was Mark Martin getting up under Earnhardt, but Earnhardt's fighting back down the back straightaway. You can see right now it looks like it looks like the 6 car may be a little quicker in the corner. You can see Earnhardt has good getting in the corner. Now watch Mark come back in the center part of the corner and get right up beside of him as they head off the corner.
Off turn 4. For third spot, even across. And as they run like this, big opportunity for Irvin to close ground, and indeed he's done it. He's right up behind them now. Outside is the move.
Okay, he decides to go with Earnhardt, but he got in a little bit hard and his car slipped up, and here comes Mark Martin trying to get back on the inside. Earnhardt was the one that came out the best in that corner of the 3.
Steve Grissom, number 41, on pit road. Unscheduled stop for Grissom. Look at Earnhardt fade up the track inside, wide open for Martin.
Okay, what's happening to Earnhardt right now? He's driving in very, very hard. He gets the nose of the car pushing out towards the outside of the racetrack. They're much quicker in the center part of the corner. Eventually, they'll get by Earnhardt the way he's running right now.
This is all for third spot. Ernie Irvin from 20th in that number 28. Ready to get out here for that position. Bobby Labonte mixes it up. There's Irvin down to the inside on Earnhardt. Back straightaway.
Just pulls right on by. Whoa. Earnhardt, not much he can do about it. He hopes that Irvin will slide up and drive back under it, but let's see if that happens.
Earnhardt move back to the inside.
Earnhardt is trying to get this car to work on the bottom, because when he goes up on the high side, you've heard us talk about on other broadcasts, arrow push, and that's what he has. When he goes in the corner, the front of the car tries to go up the racetrack, and they won't let him turn. The only way to stop it is back out the throttle.
Well, he backed out right then and let Irvin have the spot. You know, we saw Bill Elliott making all those pit stops during that caution. Guys, he's on the move too. He's moved all the way up to 15th position, make that 14th now. So Bill Elliott on the move.
Musgrave, Craven, Martin, 1, 2, 3. This is fourth spot, being contested. Ernie Irvin, the number 28 there. Earnhardt just behind him. Lies 5th, and then Bobby Labonte. That green car in 6th, the Pontiac. Joe Gibbs Racing. Mike Joy?
Ernie Irvin has said his car is a little loose off the corner, Ken. And just a little loose coming off, and he's especially concerned about when traffic is up and underneath him, because that makes the car looser. Now, Ted Musgrave up in the lead has said that feels like the track is very, very slick. Nobody else has much complained about that, but the car is difficult to drive, especially in traffic. So aerodynamics management with cars around is really becoming a key here today. Dick Berggren?
And aero indeed is a big story here today, Mike. While most of the drivers, including Ernie Irvin, have opted for the most aerodynamic downforce they can possibly get, Mark Martin, who has gone from 11th up into 3rd, has not. He is handling so well that they were able to knock a tad of spoiler back on that car. Remember the race in Texas? The car that was running so well, that number 6 that was in the lead until it blew up? This car. This is a handling fast race car. Meanwhile, Steve Grissom behind pit wall, working on the ignition system. The engine is silent.
Riding with Mark Martin in that 3rd spot. He's gliding around here now. There you see Grissom's number 41, the Gadsden, Alabama driver, hoping to get back out here and score some points. Trying to score right now, big time, is this man, Ted Musgrave, who has never won a Winston Cup race. He came very close on this track. One of his first breakthrough performances was a race he led until late and then finished 4th about 6 years ago. Right now, it's all his.
He came very close to winning at Darlington, too, in the spring race back in March. Dale Jarrett just beat him by about a half a car length.
Boy, look at Mark Martin come after Ricky Craven for 2nd spot.
Ricky Craven's beginning to fade just a little bit. Mark Martin is handling. Watch him go right down on the white line, getting in the corner here. You see Craven's car starting to edge up towards the outside of the racetrack. Martin much quicker through the middle part of the corner.
3rd race this year that Ted Musgrave has led. The others were Talladega and Pocono.
Working lap 45 is your leader Musgrave, Craven, Martin, the leaders, the top three. We continue to see a great struggle here. And again, another Roush Ford pulling up. The Roush team beginning to show some real strength with Musgrave and Martin. And by the way, the Labonte brothers are running back-to-back in 6th and 7th position, Bobby and Terry respectively. There's Mark, now on his way into 2nd place by a couple of car lengths.
And we'll have pit stops coming up here before too long, Ken. I think in the next 4 or 5 laps, excepting the dozen or so cars that pitted during the caution.
Mike Joy?
And Ken, one of the first in will be the leader, Ted Musgrave. They're going to go a little short on this stop. Lap 47, take no chances, get fresh tires, and see how it changes. So Musgrave is due in here shortly.
And Earnhardt is on pit road. Earnhardt, first of the heavy hitters.
And they've never been known for fuel mileage king, so he didn't want to run out there. So they come in, change the tires and a tank of fuel.
That'll pretty much dictate what the rest of the leaders will do too. You don't want Earnhardt out there on fresh tires running much faster.
Mike?
Going to be a standard 4-tire change for Dale Earnhardt and a fill-up of fuel. They don't want to make a 2-tire change because it only costs them 5 seconds more, and they put a set of tires on the car that are meant instead of putting on 2 on the right side and wondering what the lefts have done. So I think all of these, Ken, will be 4-tire changes.
Mark Martin is addressing pit road now. His crew ready for him. Let's see how well they'll service car number 6 for Mark Martin. Mike?
A wipe of the grill for Mark Martin. Right side tires going on. Looks like they're also coming around for the lefts. Usually when someone like Earnhardt sets the stage, everybody else will come around and do likewise. But no, Jack Roush pulls a different car out of the tech and goes with right side tires and sends Mark back out.
Musgrave, leader on pit road. Ted Musgrave coming in.
And Ernie Irvin following him right down pit road. 55 miles an hour, the speed limit on pit road.
Lap 47 as these cars come onto pit road.
Dale Jarrett enters pit road now. Several of the lead cars are coming in.
Johnny Benson comes in. Jeremy Mayfield making his pit stop. Pit road's the place to be as they work lap 48. Mike?
Ricky Thomas and Luke Schimm change the right side tires. Tony Martin has Ted Musgrave's car up in the air. Rick Paczynski's done with that first can of gas. Here comes the second can from Craig Phillips around to the left side. And again, very routine stop. A toss of the water bottle from Musgrave. As soon as that jack drops, he's gone in a flash.
Craven comes by leading with Terry Labonte in 2nd. They stay on the track. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte, who had moved up into 3rd position, he brings the number 5 onto pit road, followed by Joe Nemechek, Jimmy Spencer, and Rusty Wallace. Working lap 49 as they're making these pit stops. Schrader comes in, Hamilton. Cope is on pit road. Dick Berggren.
Rusty Wallace is on pit road right now, and on the way in, he struck one of the members of Terry Labonte's crew who went limping. He is still working on the car. Rusty has opted for a 4-tire change. Part of their plan today, part of their strategy, the driver is supposed to get the fuel mileage. They're counting on Rusty to do it. A nice stop.
Beautiful stop for Wallace, 3-time winner of this race. Of course, his car owner owns this track, Roger Penske. Bought it back in 1973, and my, how it's grown. It has flourished. Here's Earnhardt working underneath Bobby Labonte, and here's Jeff Gordon coming onto pit road. With these pit stops, he had bounced right up in the standings, but now get them all back to their positions following this green flag stop. Coming to lap 50, next time by, 150 laps to go, and Craven appears ready to come on pit road.
He's coming down right now, Ken. And this should hand the lead to Bobby Labonte.
Indeed it does, and it should put Bill Elliott up to 2nd. You were talking about how well he has done since he made, what, 5 pit stops?
Yeah, and he doesn't have to stop for another 10 laps or so because he has a lot of fuel that they didn't have, so he'll stay out there and lead for a while.
Mike?
Ricky Craven making the long run down pit road. He's getting right side tires and fuel. He's parked way out from the pit wall. That's usually the sign of a 4-tire change, and that's just what they're doing. As Dave Benning brings that jack around, and Shane Parcell and Kevin Gilman change those left side tires. Craven getting finished up here and going back out.
Shoulder and rib injury.
Boy, Bobby Labonte getting great fuel mileage on his Pontiac. He won one of the races he won here in 1995 was by fuel mileage. He won the other one by just simply outrunning them.
Somebody left a
piece of tire
out there on the racetrack.
Well, it's down on the grass. And here's Ernie Irvin trying to get back in the lead lap after he made his pit stop. He's a lap down. So all of those that have made pit stops are anxious for Bobby Labonte to go ahead and come into the pits so they can cycle back and get back on the lead lap.
See Ricky Craven doing the same thing there.
So Bobby Labonte has the lead. He's on to pit road. This will put them all back together when we return. Today's aerial shots are being provided by the Bud One airship, which reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. There's the old rig up there getting some shots today. Pretty dramatic stuff of this 2-mile racing facility that's never looked grander. And here you see after 54 of 200 laps have been completed, getting us up to 108 miles today. Bill Elliott is out in front. Great run by him from the rear. Elliott is the leader with Mark Martin in second and Michael Waltrip in third. And trying to get a lap back here is Jeff Gordon. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, the valve core in the interliner on the left rear tire of Kenny Schrader's car blew out, blowing the air out of the interliner, which blew out the outer layer of the tire, causing a major problem for Kenny Schrader. They have brought the Skull machine down, put new tires on it, and he is back out on the racetrack. To Dick Berggren.
To update you on the crew member in Terry Labonte's pit that was hit by Rusty Wallace, it was Slugger Labby. He is okay. He's favoring his right foot just a little bit, but they're more worried about the race car and dealing with tape to try to fix it up in case they have problems with that front end. Ken?
Riding with Terry Labonte in the number 5. He's working his way back up through the field after these pit stops.
That's not a cannon there on the right-hand side. That's fresh air coming in the right window there and blowing on the driver to keep him a little fresher. It's very warm here today, so I know that's a help.
He is well back in these standings, being shown 30th at the present time. Terry Labonte, and there you see Elliott out in front.
And Ken, right behind him is Jeff Gordon, who is a lap down now. He's trying to get back in the lead lap. Elliott can still go another 8 or 10 laps before he has to pit. And now Gordon gets back. Well, Elliott is now coming into the pits. He's not going to run quite as far as we thought he would. He pitted on lap 14. Michael Waltrip in the pits and the set go forward. Kyle Petty is in. All of those drivers had made pit stops on that caution around laps 12 to 14.
Rick Mast has also come in here for a pit stop. There you see Bill Elliott. Ralph?
Ken, they go to work on Bill Elliott's McDonald's number 94. The crew putting in fuel, and they're making a chassis adjustment. It looks like they'll take just 2 tires, and he'll get back out.
Some great pictures of that pit stop on Bill Elliott. He's had so much success. He has won this 400-miler 4 times.
You can see some repair work they did from an incident earlier when Bill Elliott had a little contact with another car and actually made a piece of fender and put it on there. Certainly does not hurt the way the car is performing.
Number 4, Sterling Marlin being shown up in front at 99. Jeff Burton gets a shot at it now. Bill Elliott in the 99. Falling back in the 94, and Jeff Burton in the 99 comes up into a second position. There's that number 4. He's got some tire marks down the door there, Ned.
Running close out there with somebody running close right now. Ricky Rudd in the 10 car trying to move on the inside. That's a Ford on the inside, Chevrolet on the outside. Michael Waltrip right in front of them. Ricky Rudd trying to get back on the lead lap, and that's what he just did. Rudd being shown in the 27th position, but he has made his pit stop, so he got back on the lead lap. And here comes Marlin now. He's going to come into the pits. He was one of those that stopped during that caution period. So he's picked up himself up 5 bonus points. For you fans that might be new to Winston Cup racing, any driver who leads a lap during the race gets 5 bonus Winston Cup points, and the driver who leads the most laps gets another 5 bonus points.
175, the number of points you can pick up for winning one of these things, with a 5-point increment back over the top 6 or 7 positions. Back with Bobby Labonte in that number 5. He's trying to make
That's Terry Labonte.
Oh, hey, tied for the points lead coming into this race. Debris on the racetrack.
You could see the metal flying there as he started off turn 2 and down the back straightaway.
Chewed up that right front fender.
Caution
Yellow
is
is out. Second caution of the day for Texas Terry.
New paint job on his car for this race. He's had 2 other new paint jobs in the last 2 years. He won both of those races. This is going to hurt his chances of winning today.
Co-leader with Jeff Gordon in the point battle, both off that Rick Hendrick team. Yellow is out, and it is out at lap 50. A quarter of the distance, caution down. That means that Jeff Burton in the 99 with these pit stops heads himself in the front spot. Rick Wilson is in second. Mark Martin is in third. Darrell Waltrip in fourth. And this is created because some of these cars have yet to take in fuel. They came in about a dozen of them in that first caution period when Mike Skinner crashed in turn number 2 hard. We'll take a quick commercial break and reset the field for you here on this Father's Day in the 29th running of the Michigan 400. Hey, after the race, stay on the fast track with CBS Sportsline. You'll find in-car video, special cover story featuring Jeff Gordon and how he's making out, and all these drivers up in front. The story on Jeff Burton and Mark Martin and Ricky Craven. The Winston Cup standings, video highlights, that's right. Plus the Sportsline newsroom will have a complete race wrap-up. Now, it's all at cbs.sportsline.com. That's cbs.sportsline.com right after today's event. Say, coming up next on the CBS Sports Show, the USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships continue from Indianapolis. Olympic gold medalists, that'll be Derek Atkins and Jackie Joyner-Kersee are among the stars competing. And then on the Budweiser Boxing Series, hard-hitting heavyweight Joe the Boss Hip, record 38-4. Looks to add to his knockout string. He takes on Ross Purity. That's coming up next on CBS Sports. Terry Labonte had himself problems, big-time problems. How big? Ride with him.
Well, Dad, you can see him right there. He's going, whoa, man. It looked like he cut a tire because it went up. You could see he had his steering wheel turned, and it was going right into the wall there.
And he started to come into the pits, buddy, after the caution came out, and apparently his crew said, no, go on, the caution's out, try to make another lap. So he comes across the grass and back out onto the racetrack, but now has pulled it into the garage area.
Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Ken, Terry Labonte is still sitting behind the wheel of his car. The car is up on jack stands. He is not in the mood to talk right now. He is very upset with the situation. Of course, this affecting the point standings. To Dick Bergery.
Well, Jeff Burton has been in and taken 4 tires on, and he's had quite a bit of conversation with his crew about his well-being. He says, I'm maybe not running this car as fast as I possibly could, but I'm going to hang in there. Morgan Shepherd, looking at tires, wishes he could get out, but he can't because Burton's staying behind the wheel. Mike Joy.
Dick, all the leaders that 10 laps ago got 4 tires came in here and got 2 right side tires, except Jeff Bodine, he took on 4. Now, Mark Martin got only right side tires under green, so he came in here and got only lefts. Dale Jarrett raised the track bar and took a roundabout out of car number 88. Rusty Wallace put a roundabout into his number 2 Ford. And Dale Earnhardt's crew chief Larry McReynolds assessed the damage on the right front corner and said they'll put a patch over that missing piece between the fiberglass nose piece and the steel fender next time they come in. Steve Grissom's car still sits here behind the wall. They have some sort of ignition problem where the car will not fire on more than 4 cylinders at a time. They've replaced the entire ignition box and module. Now they're thinking it may be something in the wiring or something internal as they have the distributor apart up under the hood. Ken Squire.
55th lap being completed. You're riding with Kyle Petty. Kyle is currently being shown 31st on the field in the Hot Wheels car. Kyle Petty trying to get his day together.
He's 1 lap down at the present. We're seeing 28 cars on the lead lap.
CBS Sports coverage, Michigan 400 continues after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 is sponsored by Budweiser, the classic American lager. The more than 1,575 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by AT&T, it's all within your reach.
Coming back to green here at Michigan in the 400. Just taking green, and you have Rusty Wallace in that number 2 car as your leader.
Yeah, Dick Trickle right in front of him. I said there were 28 cars on the lead lap. Dick Trickle is in 28th position, almost a lap down. In fact, right now, Rusty Wallace is going to put Dick a lap down, and Junie Donlevy is forward, number 90.
Bobby Labonte rides in second. Mark Martin in third. Jeremy Mayfield is in fourth.
Ooh, Trickle coming back up on the outside. He said, I'm not ready to give up yet.
You see Kenny Schrader there. We documented just a little while ago he had tire trouble. He's trying to get back a lap right now.
He's 2 laps down, buddy. And he gets one of those back right now if he can get a caution.
There's Junie Donlevy, his car number 90 with Dick Trickle aboard. Lost one yesterday. This is his 750th start. For over 50 years, been building cars out of Richmond, Virginia. No one more respected or well-liked than Junie Donlevy, and no one to whom people like Ken Schrader and Ernie Irvin, Ricky Rudd owe a greater thanks. He's brought so much talent along at Winston Cup.
Here comes Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. That's the green car just behind Rusty Wallace. You see him trying to get under him as they come off turn 4.
Here's Bobby Labonte in that green machine down on the bottom, trying to mow down that Rusty Wallace number 2. He's going for his 4th win in this Michigan 400. Bobby Labonte tucks back in now, right in front of Mark Martin, or Mark Martin just beneath him, taking the spot.
Somebody must have made Mark Martin mad this morning. Boy, he's driving the wheels off his number 6 cars. You see him trying to take the lead right now. He seems to be the quickest car on Speedway.
Last August here in the race, there are 2 races here at the Michigan Speedway each year for the Winston Cup cars, but Mark Martin absolutely dominated that race all day long. He lost it right at the end to Dale Jarrett, but he always has a good car.
Look at him trying to make those moves.
And on the inside.
Started 11th today, and Mark Martin, he really has the wind of his tail. He is flying around this thing, and that gives you some idea of that speed down the main straightaway. Right up at approximately 200 miles an hour as they hit that first turn.
You know, just as I was talking about Mark Martin, he dropped off the pace just a little bit on the inside there. I don't know if this car may be a little loose or whether what seems to be wrong, but he dropped back about 4 spots.
There's that number 6 of Mark Martin currently in fourth with Wallace, Bobby Labonte, and Mayfield 1, 2, 3. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, to update on the situation with Terry Labonte, he absolutely refuses to talk to any member of the media right now. The crew is feverishly working on the number 5 car. Apparently, he ran over some piece of debris out on the racetrack and was cut down a tire. They were trying to hold out until a yellow. The tire finally let go, and you saw what happened from there. The damage to the right front of the car is extensive. The crew has it up on jack stands, and they're going to be in here for quite a few laps repairing it. To Dick Berggren.
Well, we've been watching the 18 of Bobby Labonte motor his way through this field today. He has won here twice at Michigan. 95, he cleaned house, won both of the events. This is a different deal. This is a Pontiac, that was a Chevrolet. And they have spent all of their preparation for this event working on aerodynamics. This car may look terrific on the racetrack, but it's never going to win a car show deal because the whole front of it has been glued together, taped together, and welded together as recently as this morning, trying to get it aerodynamically right. Looks like they got it. To Lake Joy.
Ned, they're saying here that Mark Martin's car is just fine. He just got down on the low side and out of the draft. That's why that upper lane moved by him. Same cannot be said for Joe Nemechek. The outside pole sitter has blown up.
He was 6 when it came apart, went behind the wall. Kyle Petty following right behind, or Ricky Rudd. As they fight further back in the field, Kyle Petty trying to have himself any kind of a run today. It's a hard struggle for him. Buddy?
Well, just in front of this group, Bill Elliott is making a great run towards the front. He was in 36 not long ago, all the way up to 3rd now. He's making a charge towards the front.
Showing Kyle Petty in 31st and a lap or 2 down at the present time. As he follows with Ricky Rudd in the number 5. Rudd trying to get that thing sorted out and get himself a run that'll get him back up here in front of this field. For the moment, give Rusty Wallace with the advantage. And look at Martin pour it on the bottom. That's Elliott and Bobby Labonte in one scoop. Almost. Bobby Labonte getting away from him right there.
Well, what you're seeing there, the outside of the racetrack, when you move on the bottom side, it makes the car on the inside very, very loose, and it's hard to pass. So the car on the outside gets the momentum to run back down the straightaway a little bit faster than the car on the inside. You see Mark still fighting for that outside. Bobby Labonte went to the inside. He's going backwards now.
Trying to nuzzle his way in there.
And he'll try it again down there. He gets him another run.
Coming up on Wallace.
Elliott down on the inside of Bill Elliott. Gets a nose alongside of Wallace. Wow, he got himself a run that time coming off turn 4. He's going to lead this lap.
Finishing lap 74. They're even across.
Now watch what happens when they go down into one. That inside car is at a disadvantage down there. You see Bill Elliott fighting back on the outside.
Well, one thing, buddy, that caused him to get a little loose, his line was taken away from him. He couldn't go as wide into the turn. Martin couldn't. He said, boy, that's close, as he needed to going into that turn. So he's going to have to do it all over again up here in 3 and 4 if he can.
Mark Martin says it's good to have friends. Bobby Labonte could see that he was coming up, and this early in the race, they give him racing room, and was lucky there because if he could touch Mark coming out of the corner, they'd got the wall for sure.
Riding with Martin as he looks outside and look at Wallace. Wow. Like modifieds out there for a minute. Scooting around out there. Elliott on the outside. Couple of Fords, and look at Bill Elliott. Gee, does that look grand to see him up there fighting for first on this track. So much success here, so much frustration for Elliott of recent. But right now, he brings Martin with him. On the outside, Mark Martin going to second place, and Wallace back to third.
Outside is the place to be right now. It looks like it's the faster groove, but Mark Martin's going to try it again on the inside. Couldn't do it.
Well, if he's going to pass Bill Elliott, he's going to have to catch him coming out of the corner. Going into the corner, you really can't make a move. But it seems that Mark Martin has the car. If he ever gets him lined up just right coming out of the corner, he'll get by Bill. But you got to remember something else about Bill Elliott. He's only won here 7 times.
He knows every inch of this real estate.
It's been so frustrating for Bill Elliott. He says one day you wake up and you've forgotten how to drive a race car. He certainly hasn't. His frustration may be ending here today. Look at this move by Martin as he comes up on Elliott. He dives to the bottom.
Boy, he gets a good run off the turn. Can he sustain it down the straightaway?
For the lead. For first place, still even across. There's Wallace right back in it. Elliott extending up on the outside around Grissom, the lap car that's back on the track. And look at Earnhardt moving in on Craven. This is for fourth. Craven is there. Earnhardt in the number 3, and Ernie Irvan there knocking on the door in 6th spot.
They're just now getting in line for one of the best races of the year. All these cars are extremely strong. The draft has so much to do with how you get around here. You see Earnhardt really moving up. Here comes Ernie Irvan up under him. We're going to have side-by-side racing before too long.
They all had an opportunity, buddy, during that caution period to make adjustments on their cars, and they're getting them dialed in now and getting racing.
And I'll tell you, that pit stop by Wallace was brilliant. He came on to pit road in 13th. He came out leading. Give that to that pit crew. Robin Pemberton. Great move on pit road. Now take a look at number 3, Earnhardt, clawing away at Ricky Craven for 4th spot. There's Earnhardt in the number 3, and he definitely is edging ever closer to that number 25. He's got him in his sights. Can he pull the trigger? Elliott and Martin stay up there in 1st. Wallace in 3rd. Craven in 4th. Earnhardt 5th. Ernie Irvan 6th. And Bobby Labonte now 7th. And Jeff Gordon is into 8th with Mayfield 9th. John Andretti is back on pit road. John Andretti well back in 40th. How about this? Outside. It's Earnhardt, the Intimidator, rim riding right up around by the wall, and he's got himself a spot. Into 4th goes Earnhardt. Craven falls to 5th, and here comes Ernie Irvan on the bottom. Ernie Irvan coming after Craven.
But he has to back off a little bit. Now he gets that running start that Mark Martin has been getting coming off that turn down on the inside.
And look at Bobby Labonte just behind Ernie Irvan. They try to make it 3 wide here. No. Irvin protecting that flank and staying right down on the bottom, not letting him through. But Craven is falling back, collected by Irvin, and now the number 18 comes after him, Bobby Labonte. Bobby's brother Terry back in the garage. They're working on the number 5 to get him out here. And remember, it's in the rhythm race, Terry Labonte. He is tied with teammate Gordon for top spot coming into today's race. Needs to be out here gathering points. Frustrated and angry, does not want to talk to the press. He's out of his car while they continue to make repairs.
Labonte still trying to make the pass on Craven going into turn 1. Down on the inside, he might have him this time. He does. He can slip up into that groove now and get his car set to come off turn 2.
I think Ricky Craven realized he was much quicker and let him go on that bottom side because that was not the place to make the pass. But Ricky right now is just out there getting a lot of experience and does not want to create a problem this early.
Craven falls to 7th. Bobby Labonte goes to 6. Here is Mark Martin in it again in this battle for the lead. Elliott just barely edges through there. I tell you, that is some great racing.
I tell you what these two guys are doing right now. You can study a guy in front of you. If he has like the car's a little bit loose, you can actually tighten him up by moving down on the bottom side like Mark Martin's doing now. He'll fall back in behind him as they head down the straightaway.
Someone has said that Mark Martin is like a pit bull. Once he gets his teeth in, he does not let go. And look at him up there with Bill Elliott in this great scrap.
He's a tough little competitor. Rusty Wallace still running along in 3rd in the car number 2. Ward Burton just came out of the pits a lap or 2 ago. He's having problems today.
Way back in today's standings, showing 36. Joe Nemechek out of the race. He's with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Joe's climbed out of the Bell South car. Joe, what happened?
I'm not really sure. Something broke in the motor of this Bell South Coors Light Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It's just kind of a frustrating day. You know, we had a great qualifying run, running up in the front, just trying to bide our time, and something just broke inside. No warning whatsoever, but hey, I got my favorite car. We're taking it to California. We're going to be ready.
Ken?
Okay, Joe Nemechek looking forward to next week. So well, you got to run it. Look at this fight continue. Back and forth. Martin on the inside, Elliott on the outside. Wallace ready to make it 3 wide. Oh, man. 95 laps this time, and there's Bill Elliott once again from 26th starting position today. Now leading the Michigan 400. Mark Martin from 6th position, and Wallace, all 3 of them tucked in there together. What a great shot down the back straightaway.
Great racing there, and just behind them, Dale Earnhardt is now moving in because he and Ernie Irvin are drafting up on these front 3.
Here they come, trying to make it 3 wide again. Now Rusty tucks in behind Mark Martin. We don't know which one to follow as they come to the start-finish line. It's going to be a drag race, and Mark Martin will lead that lap maybe by 8 inches.
Maybe. Bill Elliott says, we started racing in Winston Cup. We had no idea what we were getting into. We were just a bunch of boys in the mountains in Georgia trying to make a race. And just said, please, Lord, let us in the field. Look at him now.
It's a 5-car race for the lead.
A quick break and back with more of the action of the 29th running of the Michigan 400 on CBS.
This CBS Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Budweiser, the classic American lager.
After 87 of 200 laps have been completed, 8 leaders, 16 lead changes, average speed at 144. Those were official lead changes. It's almost twice that as they dice around the track, but they collect them as they come across the line. A couple of cautions, 12 laps, and the car's out. That's building up early. Kenny Wallace, Mike Skinner, Steve Grissom, John Andretti, Terry Labonte. They're still working on his car to get it back, and Nemechek. And let's get more from Ralph Shaheen on Terry Labonte right now.
Well, Terry, tell me what happened out there, and can you get the car repaired enough to get back out and score some points?
Well, I was going through the corner, and somebody had lost part of a tire. It was sliding down the racetrack, and I saw it, and I couldn't miss it. And I hit it with the right front, and it knocked the whole right front air dam off the car, and so it picked up a real bad push. finally I ran long enough and blew out the right front tire. I was hoping for a caution flag, but I sure didn't need to be the one, you know. I thought maybe we could get the car fixed. I didn't want to stay out until I went a lap down and stayed out too long.
They will do everything they can to get this car back out there, even if it means just one lap. Get 1 point would be very important. Dick Berggren?
Big trouble for Rusty Wallace. Flat right front tire. They're not sure exactly what went wrong. They think it just went down and then it cut the tire up as a result. To Mike Joy.
A funny thing about that, Dick, Mark Martin, same problem. Right rear, a big cut here near the inside, or rather outside shoulder of this tire, brought Mark in. They could have changed all four. They guessed rights only. That solved the problem.
Wallace has gone a lap down. Rusty is being shown in 27th, a lap down. Martin is on the tail end of the lead lap. He's in 25th position. Your leader is Bill Elliott with Earnhardt second, Irvin third, Bobby Labonte fourth, Ricky Craven fifth, Jeff Gordon in sixth, followed by Dale Jarrett, and then the injured Jeff Burton, doing a great job in the 88, is up into ninth. That Terry Labonte car has now been back in the garage area for 26 minutes. And Mr. Consistency out here, second, and third. The last 3 years, he is really suffering. $1 million at stake for him at the end of the year, and he may just have lost it.
It's going to be a big blow to his point situation. It's not going to put him out of the chase by any means, but it's a big
But this could be the turnaround the way Gordon is running right now.
You know, I would have to speculate that Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace run over the same piece of metal out there because they were running right together and both of them had flat tires on the same lap.
Good point.
Elliott in the 94 stays in first, and the fastest lap today still belongs to Musgrave, averaging 179.2, call it 180 miles an hour on lap 17. And Craven did 179 average in lap 2. That's really hauling the mail.
Speaking of hauling the mail, the 3-car right now, Dale Earnhardt seems to be very, very quick. He's able to run the high groove. And if Ernie Irvin will stay with him, he'll catch Bill Elliott and really turn this thing into a show again.
Elliott had moved out to about a 15-car length lead about 5 laps ago, but now you're right, buddy. Dale Earnhardt has moved back in. Ernie, right there, you see the 4 cars in the picture that are running first, second, third, and fourth. Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, and Bobby Labonte in the green car.
The armor-plated Dale Earnhardt stays right there in second place. And if you don't believe it, remember Talladega a year ago. Earnhardt just keeps on coming back. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Bill A running way up front here. Mike Beam is crew chief. Have you guys set this thing up for gas mileage or just plain to run hard all day?
Well, you know, like I told you this morning, we come to win the race. Yeah, we weren't going to worry about the fuel mileage. So, yeah, we come to race. We didn't come to steal the show. So, luckily, you know, it's unfortunate the way the cautions have come out, but it's fortunate for us because the fuel mileage, we're getting really good gas mileage, you know. So, I feel like at the end of the race, and even if it comes down to it, we'll be able to win it.
And Kim Burton, Jeff Burton's wife, says she thinks he's going to be able to go all the way. She should know about his condition better than anybody.
Yeah, Kim has seen him beaten up before, but right now he is driving just a magnificent race. Jeff Burton injured yesterday. They thought he'd broken his shoulder, broken some ribs. They x-rayed him. He has a terrible contusion on his leg, naturally, from that awful wallop in the wall. And he's out here, 140-degree heat in that car, just driving the wheels off it. And look at the old grizzly bear. Earnhardt's right there. 4 car lengths back from Elliott, and he's zeroing in. Ernie Irvin coming with him. We're going to take a commercial break. We're at lap 96, getting close to the halfway mark, and it's a Winston Cup showdown at Michigan. Coming to halfway with today's aerial shots being provided by the Bud One Airship, which reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. There she is as we come to halfway here in the Michigan 400. Bill Elliott, there you see his lead. Look who's come into second. Bobby Labonte piled them 3 wide in the main straightaway to take that second spot. Ernie Irvin's in there. Earnhardt's in there. 4, and look at this as they begin to snake that back straightaway. Elliott trying to loosen him up, not let him get near.
Pick up every little bit of draft they can from whether it's a lap car or whatever.
Elliott is the master. There he is around Ward Burton. Whoa. The move by Bobby Labonte was the move. He took 2 cars. He took Earnhardt and Ernie Irvin to grab second spot away. Now they go back to single file. They try to draft their way to collect themselves on that leader. 2 or 3 cars together there, that can make the difference. As you can see right here, those 3 in single file are definitely moving in. That wake off that motorboat, pretty impressive on the back stretch here as they cut through the air and close down on Bill Elliott.
You can see when they get single file how they close in so quickly. When they run side by side, Bill Elliott pulls out 15, 18 car length. Now they're starting to reel him in.
Mike Joy?
Ken, Bobby Labonte has a little pre-race ritual that he and Donna do with their toddler-age son, Tyler. They walk back to the car after driver introductions. They put Tyler in the driver's seat, and he starts driving like he's going to go win the race. There is usually a screaming fit when Bobby tries to pull him out of the car. He does not want to get out. He wants to be a racer, even at age 2.
Speaking of racers right now, Bobby Labonte has found an outside groove that is very quick through 1 and 2. Now you see in 3 and 4 here, he kind of holds his own. When he gets down to the far end down here, if he and Ernie Irvin don't get running side by side, you will see how fast he is getting through that part of the corner. Going in this corner, though, it takes the line off just a little bit of both cars getting in the corner, and they'll slow down just a little bit.
16, 17 lead changes here in the first half of the race. That equals the lead changes a year ago in the whole event. And look at Bill Elliott stay in front. And that guy who won both races here in 1995, Bobby Labonte, is right back in the same groove that he found so successful for Joe Gibbs 2 years ago. You see the front 4 there. Remember, Craven is in 5th, Jeff Gordon is in 6th, Dale Jarrett in 7th, Jeff Burton in 8th, and Mayfield in 9th. Sterling Marlin is in 10th. And Musgrave, who led much of the early going, turned the fastest laps. He's back in 11th. I'll tell you, Lake Speed is having a great day. He's up in 12th spot. The Melling car, and of course the Melling car won here forever. Back in the 70s and 80s. Bill Elliott, take a look. Challenge for the lead.
Bobby tried that high groove that time, Bobby, but it wouldn't quite work for him.
I think Bill Elliott looked in the mirror and said, oh, if you can run up there, I certainly can. So he moved up a little bit himself.
Oh, after the hard year in the 96 was, wouldn't it be grand to see Bill Elliott have a great day here today? Missed 7 of 31 races when he broke his left femur in that bad crash in Talladega. But he's back, and he was still the most popular driver again last year. Folks love Bill Elliott for good reason. Great racer, fine person. Hey, you know they're going to build a Hall of Fame down in Dawsonville, Georgia, Doctor?
Really?
Yeah, Dawson. I thought the Hall of Fame was the Dawsonville Pool Hall.
Yeah,
Gordon Perkle and the guys. No, they're really at it. Serious, big bucks. I still like the Pool Hall. Hey, take a look at this back straightaway. Lined up. Top
4. It's a pretty good ways back to the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th place drivers, Ken. There they are. There's the 5th place car of Craven. Here's Gordon coming up, catching him. He's come from pretty far back and has caught his teammate. Both of those cars owned by Hendrick Motorsports. There's Dale Jarrett coming into the picture. He has caught them also, and Jeff Burton following Jarrett right up through there. So a battle for 5th.
That's Jeff Gordon going into 5th, and he started in 42nd. So that car is really working well. He's now got good track position. A caution or two could really put him right in the middle of everything.
And the teammate finished 2nd at Daytona, Terry Labonte, over 30 minutes back there in the garage area, trying to get that one straightened around and get the number 5 back out another time.
Looking back at Jeff Burton out of Dale Jarrett's car.
Jeff Burton running in 8th. In 7th is Dale Jarrett.
And Burton has an in-car camera, so we'll look at his windshield as they pass Ricky Craven.
Let me comment on the right side of that windshield. They cleaned the left side. The driver's not looking through quite as bad a windshield as we were just looking through in that in-car camera there. They sometimes don't clean the right side.
Craven is the one backing up. Craven back to 8th now as Jeff Burton knocked him down.
I think the chassis has gone away on his car right now, and we're not far away from pit stops.
Dick Trickle in 30th position is just pitted number 90. Elliott stays first. Bobby Labonte, who was trying that high side run that was so successful in 95, has moved to an inside line.
Earnhardt coming into the pits. We said pit stops were not far away. Earnhardt was the first one before when they came in for green flag pit stops. Dale Jarrett coming down pit road as well.
Lap 109 as these pit stops are taking place. Mike.
The Flying Aces over the wall as Mike Orr puts the car up in the air. Jerry Haley, David Rogers bring those right side tires around for Jimmy Elledge and Mark Armstrong to change. Danny Myers has the first can of gas in. Danny Lawrence brings the second. Left side tires in position to go on. No comment from Earnhardt as he stopped. Dale Jarrett also getting 4, and Earnhardt gets away. Now Jarrett finishing his service and left side tires. A little long there on the left side, and now Jarrett is away as well.
21.8 as Earnhardt comes out.
Here comes Gordon down pit road. Kyle Petty just making a pit stop going out. Jeff Burton coming in. Jimmy Spencer coming in. These are scheduled pit stops. Green flag pit stops that we're seeing here right now. Dick Berggren.
And Jeff Gordon has come in. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Gordon. Mike Trowers on the front, Chad Knaus in the back, Mike Belden on the gas, and Barry Muse is the jack man. They are all weekend warriors. They all came in on a plane this morning. This is their total job on this team. Change tires, put fuel in this car as fast as possible. Incredible he is running this fast. Gordon has only got 25 laps of practice on that thing before the race started today. And
here's Gordon, it's number 24. Now look at these leaders. As Lake Speed brings the number 9 in, having a great run throughout the day thus far.
Brett Bodine goes out. Here comes Johnny Benson into the pits. Michael Waltrip, Jeff Bodine.
Here's Terry Labonte. After 37 minutes plus, they're getting ready to fire him up, trying to keep him in that point battle. Johnny Benson has just pulled on pit road. Look at Bobby Labonte up on the outside, trying to sweep through, and instead Elliott squeaked away. Here he comes as Elliott gets ready to pit. With him comes Ernie Irvan. New leader, Bobby Labonte. Michael Waltrip on pit road. These pit stops now taking place as they work lap 112.
Ricky Craven coming in, so is Sterling Marlin and Ted Musgrave. All of these cars on the lead lap. Chad Little is in. Let's go to the pits and Dick Berggren.
Well, this is going to be a really interesting story for Bill Elliott. On the left front, they put a piece of sheet metal to repair the damage that occurred earlier when they had that altercation at road. NASCAR is concerned about that piece of sheet metal, and they've asked those guys to adjust it. They pushed it in a little bit. Let's go to Mike Joy.
4-tire change for Ernie Irvan. Joey Knuckles handles home the lug nuts on the left front, and Irvan gets a good quick pit stop. He's out of here.
226 miles completed the 400-mile distances. Now Bobby Labonte comes onto pit road.
He had taken over the lead, and Dick Berggren.
Bobby Labonte in with that Pontiac. Front end very different than it's supposed to be, or at least the way they came to the racetrack with it. It's going to be at least a 2-tire stop. It's going to be 4 tires for Bobby Labonte, who is running ever so well here today. Everything going just fine on this pit stop. Labonte about ready to take off out of here and join the crew. He's gone. 21 and a half seconds. Not a bad stop.
And how about Jeremy Mayfield now leading in the 29th running of the Michigan 400. Mayfield out of Owensboro, Kentucky, the young star from the same town that gave us Darrell Waltrip and the Green brothers. There's Jeremy at work. Jeremy Mayfield with that Econolodge camera coming onto pit road. Got a brief lead, picked up 5 points, and Derek Cope is going to appropriate first position. Cope is going to go to first, and it's going to bring Rick Wilson in that number 27 up in the second spot. Jeremy Mayfield back out another time. Now we've had Cope come in. Hey, this could give DW a chance to lead.
Well, it could. Good if his fuel will hold out long enough.
Stops under green. 113 laps complete. Back after this word from your local station. NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series comes home to CBS Sports on Sunday, June the 29th. With the Napa Auto Care 200. Live flag-to-flag coverage from Nazareth, Pennsylvania begins at 1:30 Eastern. Well, we've had these green flag stops, and after some 40 minutes, 29 seconds on pit road, Terry Labonte back on the track, running 41st. Some 55 laps down, tied for the lead in points as he entered race number 14 this afternoon. So after his problems here, tire cut down, slapped the wall hard. changed the whole right side of it. A 40-minute delay in his effort. He's back on the racetrack just trying to collect points.
His main concern right now is just to ride and make laps and not cause a problem for other people out there.
Back with the leaders, you have Mark Martin in front, and after all of these pit stops, let's tell you how they're running. You have Martin up in front, Elliott in second, Irvin in third, Earnhardt in fourth, and Bobby Labonte fifth, with Gordon just in that sixth spot. So there you have Mark Martin right there up in front, 25 cars in the lead lap.
And Martin has about a 7.5 second lead. Now remember, he's off sequence. He made an unscheduled pit stop a while back. He pitted on lap 87, and we're now at a lap. They're running the 120th lap right now. So he still can go another 15 or so laps before he'll have to come in.
There you see Darrell Waltrip. He's in 26 a lap now.
Darrell led the race a few laps before he made his green flag pit stop. But when he made that stop, he did go a lap down.
The 41 there, that's Steve Gristle.
Yeah, and he's back. He's way back, 37 laps. He's a long time. And there you see the 29. And what a story here. You've got this young Jeff Green that's taken over in this rig, and you're going to hear a lot more from him. Not a good day, 2 laps down in 30th position. Here's John Andretti, and he is also well back.
Yeah, he's 25 laps down. He was in the pits for repairs for a long time, being shown in 38th position.
Rick Mass not having a good day. He's a couple of laps down, running in 31st.
The next car we see is Bill Elliott. He's been our leader for several laps.
Now in second spot, just behind Mark Martin. Actually 5. He's picked up a couple of seconds. He's only 5 back. There you see Bobby Hamilton in the number 43. And Hamilton is a couple of laps down.
He's 2 laps down, being shown in 32nd position.
You can see the 28 there of Ernie Irvin really getting high in the corner there. He's now running third.
Ernie Irvin third, Mark Martin, Elliott first and second. And there's Earnhardt maintaining fourth.
And Bobby Labonte right on his back bumper in the 5th position. The green car, Earnhardt in the black car. There's Labonte running that high line.
Staying right there with Earnhardt. Next car in that lead lap would be Jeff Gordon.
He and Dale Jarrett are having a battle there for 6th and 7th as they come to the start-finish line.
That 7th win of the season. And the 88, Dale Earnhardt, started on the point today. He was the fast car in qualifying. Now here's that 99 running in 8th, Jeff Burton. He may be hurt, but he's still hitting strong here at the present time. Great run for Jeff Burton, the Exide number 99.
There's Sterling Marlin, number 4 car.
9th position. Craven 10th, number 25. It's kind of, and there you see many laps down. Terry Labonte, 55 laps down, long time back after that altercation. I was hoping we were going to find Dave Marcus in there because he's written his own story this afternoon, Ned.
Yes, he has. He has run enough laps now to surpass Richard Petty as far as the record is concerned of the number of laps and miles run here at the Michigan Speedway.
That's Ted Musgrave. He led the early part of the race, but dropped back a little bit now.
11th position for him. And there's Wallace, who led earlier. He's being shown in 12th.
But he's back on the lead lap. You know, he went a lap down when he made that unscheduled pit stop. As we see Jeff Bodine coming down the pit road very slowly. As a matter of fact, Jeff Bodine is going behind the wall and into the garage area. Jeff was still one of those cars.
Yeah, 25th or 6th.
Yeah.
26th as he came in.
The 37 car here, that's Jeremy Mayfield.
13th position.
Great run for Jeremy today.
21 seconds behind the leader.
There's Billy Stanbridge, too. There's a name you're going to hear more of. He's a 3-lap down, 3-lap deficit in 34th. And Jeremy Mayfield giving you those pictures. Johnny Benson, caution out. Got a yellow on the track. As we're taking you down, your summary of the field, Johnny Benson from Grand Rapids. Whole family here. His dad, who's won some 700 races and instrumental in his career. And that yellow Penzo car. Caution is out. 3rd one of the day.
Break for Mark Martin.
Wow.
Break for him and Rusty Wallace. They were off sequence as far as pit stops were concerned. This is going to put them right back in same sequence as everyone else. Because they'll all make pit stops.
Martin leading, Elliott 2nd, Irvin 3rd, Earnhardt in 4th, Bobby Labonte 5th. Gordon is 6th, Dale Jarrett 7th, Jeff Burton 8th, Mark Martin and Ricky Craven make up the top 10.
This CBS Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
After 127 laps have been completed, 10 different leaders, 20 lead changes, average speed still down from the record of a 166 because of 3 caution periods for 15 laps. Cars out of the race and off the track here. Kenny Wallace, Skinner, Nemechek, and Bodine's the latest. And Jeff Bodine's problem have led to the 3rd caution of the day as he oiled down the back straightaway. And they're having to take care of that right now, particularly going into turn 3. Jeff Bodine losing an engine on number 7.
Jeff Bodine has had a very rough year this year. He has run very well, but he's just had a lot of bad luck of one sort or another.
Say, after the race, stay on the fast track, CBS Sports Line. You'll find in-car video, special cover story featuring the top stars here. The Mark Martin, the Ernie Irvan, the Earnhardt story, Jeff Gordon. It's all coming up after the event on CBS Sports Line. Plus, the Sportsline newsroom will have a complete race wrap-up, all at cbs.sportsline.com. And then tonight on 60 Minutes, Dan Rather one-on-one with Timothy McVeigh's defense attorney, Steve Jones, plus what really went on behind the scenes at the Oklahoma City bombing trial. That's on 60 Minutes tonight, followed by Touched by an Angel and the CBS Sunday movie, The Man from Left Field with Burt Reynolds and Reba McEntire. Let's get to Mike Joy.
Ken, they're taking a very careful look at the tires that came off Ricky Craven's car. He said he had a vibration at the end of the straightaway, so that's speed sensitive. They especially wanted to check these weights. They're regular garage weights on steel wheels, and they paint the tire where the weights go, so that if Ricky comes in and one is missing, they know that's the cause of the vibration. This is left front tire from set number 7, and they make other marks around it to denote circumference and also the air pressure that they've run, durometer reading, and there's a lot of code on this tire. But all 4 tires have all the weights in place. So if Craven still has a vibration, it's somewhere else, Ken.
Well, there you see Ricky Craven trying to get this thing sorted out. Caution is still out. He's got his gloves off in there. We'll get more on the story here from Ricky Craven shortly. And welcome back to Michigan Speedway. 128 laps, 256 miles complete. Packed capacity house here, 107,000 seats. All sold out. We're under caution, 3rd of the day, after an oil down of the back straightaway. Hey, before the start of the 97 season, Robbie Gordon signed on with Felix Sabetis. And their first year together has had its ups and downs. Ralph Shaheen takes a look at their relationship.
As the 1997 Winston Cup season began for Robbie Gordon, there was plenty of promise. By the 4th race of the year, the kid from California, with a heavy right foot and a gas tank full of courage, had won his first pole. Unfortunately, Memorial Day weekend was memorable for all the wrong reasons. A Charlotte Indy doubleheader brought only torn-up race cars and painful burns, which as of yesterday still had not healed enough to allow Robbie to return to the cockpit.
I think if it was 3 inches higher up onto my thigh, it would be okay, but the problem is when you're in a Winston Cup car in the corner, it's actually right where you lean against the seat brace. With the G-forces that you get loaded in the corner with, this would be right up against the seat.
A turbulent May brought about rumors of a split between car owner Felix Sabetis and Gordon, and a question as to who had control of the steering wheel.
Whenever the doctor releases him, he'd be back in the race car. I mean, he is the driver of the Coors Light car, and that's who the driver is. Sachs is substituted for the time being, but I'm not going to let Robbie get in the car and get hurt. You know, Robbie would get in the car right now if I let him, but, you know, you can't let a driver that is hurt get in the car and maybe ruin his career or hurt somebody else at it.
Like any racer, Robbie still dreams of the Brickyard. The question is, which car will he race there?
And I've told Robbie that, you know, he got to make a decision what he wants to do. If he wants to drive an open-wheel car, hey, good luck to him. I'd like for him to stay here. I think he has a bright future in Winston Cup racing. You know, I've seen him do things with a race car as a rookie that not too many veterans can do. So he has a big future here, but if he's got kart and Indy in his blood, then he should go do that.
I'm just as committed when I signed up in the beginning of the year. When I signed up in the beginning of the year for Winston Cup racing, I always had the Indianapolis 500 tied into my contract, and nothing's changed. That was the same thing that I've wanted to do all along.
Felix Sabat looking on. He has one car left in this race in 20th position. Dallenbach. Nemechek is out. The 40 car didn't make the show today. Question is, will we see Robbie Gordon in California next Sunday?
Well, Felix was quoted here this weekend as saying that he didn't think that Robbie would be ready to go next week, but who knows?
I can tell you, I've had a burn like that on myself, and the form-fit seats that we have, when you sit down in the seats, it hugs your legs so tightly that looked very painful to look at, much less to go out and put a lot of G-force in the corners on that particular leg. It looked bad.
Take a look at Ricky Craven's seat. That'll give you some idea. Hey, we're just about ready to go back racing, folks, here. California, the Michigan 400, and we have 130 laps complete. Let's get a quick message from Ralph Sheen.
Well, Jeff Bonine is watching his QVC machine being loaded up into the hauler. What happened?
Blew up, just down the back straightaway. No warning. It wasn't running really good all day. We weren't bad, but it wasn't anything special. But no warning, it just broke going down the back straightaway. So don't really know what that is. It could be a lot of things, so I won't speculate. But we're loading up, heading to California. Maybe there's a gold rush out there. I'll get a pot of gold and change my luck.
Ken?
70 laps to go. Let's see who gets this pot of gold. Musgrave is in first. Mayfield in second. Strickland, the number 8, come up to third. Mark Martin in fourth. Bill Elliott fifth. Craven sixth. Jared seventh. Ernie Irvan is in eighth. Jeff Gordon ninth. And Bobby Labonte in 10th as they break away. And again, as at the outset of the race, Musgrave is the leader in that number 16.
Boy, he has taken off, pulled away from him, too. I think he only changed 2 tires, and so did Jeremy Mayfield, who was in second place because Strickland during this pit stop, but it gave him great track position.
You see Rick Mass, number 75, in there. That's a lap down, and he's been fighting an ill-handling car ever since he got here on Friday.
You can see Jeremy Mayfield in second. As we look at all the cars go down the front straightaway into turn 1 there, Jeremy Mayfield moved up into second. What a great run this young driver is having.
And those pictures show you what a great track this is. There's not a bad seat in the house, and it's so competitive here, Ned.
Well, we've seen 2-3 wide racing here in that wide racetrack. There's Earnhardt and Gordon hooking up together back there. Darrell Waltrip is a lap down, and there's the car number 29, Jeff Green. You can see a lot of side-by-side racing here on this 2-mile facility.
That's a great shot as you look in there, but it doesn't capture the speed of about 180 miles per hour. For more on Earnhardt, here's Mike Joy.
Ken, let me tell you why he's restarted so deep in the field. He came in for a 2-tire change. Midway through the pit stop, Larry McReynolds changed the call. He said, if we get 4 tires now, then with 25 laps to go, we just have to come in for rights. The left sides will go all the way. They gave up track position for better position 50 laps from now. We'll see if it works.
Call for McReynolds.
Yep, I think that's a great call.
We'll see.
You're looking back at Earnhardt. He's taking an inside look as they head down in the corner there. You can see him trying to get by Jared on the bottom side there. Just in front of him, Jeff Gordon's running side by side with Chad Little.
There they are, 3 wide.
134 laps, 268 of the 400 miles complete. And look at this stampede. There's Earnhardt down on the bottom, wending his way through. He would be great in sewing business. Boy, he can go through the eye of the needle like nothing else. Fastest lap of the day, Musgrave, lap 17 at 179.2 average. And those were all early laps in the race today.
Well, as they continue to run, get more rubber and a little more grease, and the track heats up, then the speeds will slow down a little bit.
Ned, there was some concern about Bill Elliott's car. You see the red car there just following Mark Martin down the front straightaway. He had a piece of sheet metal on the left front corner there. They beat it in a little bit. I guess some of the competitors were complaining it was sticking out a little too far. NASCAR was concerned also.
Dick Bergman.
Yeah, NASCAR was down here. They had some conversation with Mike Beam, and at first they came in with a sheet metal cutter. They thought they were going to have to cut that thing off. But apparently NASCAR has decided that pushing it in was just just fine. And meanwhile, Elliott has radioed from the cockpit, this car is just great. This could be Bill Elliott's day. Strange piece of sheet metal or not, Ken?
Well, yeah, but Musgrave right now, he could stop for, he's got a whole 1 and 4/10 seconds between himself and the field. Biggest lead anybody's had.
But the one thing he has a disadvantage. All these other cars are drafting, and it plays a big, important part. They'll start to reel him in as they single file and get after him.
Coming around to complete 137 laps in the Michigan 400. With Ned Jarrett and Buddy Baker, I'm Ken Squire. Topside, Ralph Shaheen and Mike Joy in the pits. Hope you're enjoying this Father's Day, this great race. And let's not forget Dr. Dick Berggren himself, Stock Car Magazine. The whole gang looking forward to a thrilling climax to this one. And it looks like with 23 cars still in the lead lap, gambler's choice.
And here there are 4 wide on the front straightaway, and Jeff Gordon is right in the middle of it. Look at that. Going into turn 1. Gordon would like to get out of there, but he can't. Now they ease down a little bit. Boy, that's the kind of racing we used to see here at the Michigan Speedway, and it's back again.
Inside Jarrett's number 88, back in 11th spot.
Beautiful shot it is. You're riding with Dale Jarrett down the back straightaway. You see Earnhardt just under the 24 car there. You can see Gordon giving way as Dale puts him away. He's trying to get up under him down the front straightaway.
Give us a driver's lap out there, buddy.
Okay, we're looking down right now, down the front straightaway, right about there at the start-finishing line. You start down into turn 1 now. What Dale has to really worry about is that car on the outside. You can see Earnhardt getting a little bit loose, getting in the corner. Loeb had to go high there. Different way. You see Dale Jarrett still making moves on Earnhardt as we head out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Derek Cope gets a better run on the outside, closes that spot off. Here comes Jeff Gordon on the outside. That's from having to pinch that car from being on the bottom part. Down into turn 3, you see him right in the middle of the racetrack, back in the throttle right there. You start easing out toward the wall and back down the front straightaway using this slipstream. And what that is turbulence coming off these cars. It's actually a vacuum that pulls that car forward that's behind.
How much do you lift going into 1?
Well, it depends. Right now, they're on fresh tires pretty much so. Ease out just a little bit right here and right back in the throttle. You pick it up, run it all the way to the next corner.
Before you get to the apex, you're back in the throttle.
Absolutely. If you're handling right, you don't stay out very long.
As they go down that 2,200-foot backstretch, you just can't capture the speed, but imagine it looks like headed down the interstate, but that's 180 miles an hour, folks. Look at Gordon underneath Derek Cope in the number 36, way up on the high side of the racetrack, and back on the inside comes Jarrett. He's in 10th spot, the number 88, Dale Jarrett, the pole sitter. Derek Cope in the 36, and Gordon fight for 8th spot. You're riding with Jarrett. He's in that 10th spot.
You can see him sawing that steering wheel. This is not a Sunday drive out here of any pleasure. You have to work that steering wheel to keep that car really hooked to the surface.
And you're right on the edge. It's a 200-mile-an-hour tightrope into turn number 1. And all you got to do is turn it just that much more, and you slap that wall backwards so quick, so hard. Musgrave looking for his first career win. Stays up in front. He has a lead now trimmed to only a second. It was 1.4. Forget it. It's now down to 9/10 of a second. Martin and Elliott are reeling in the leader along with Ernie Irvin.
Yeah, they're hooked up in a 3-car draft there that is helping them as long as they stay that way and don't try to start racing side by side. Looks like Elliott might have a car in the middle there.
I think he wants to go, Ned.
Yeah,
you can see him there. The only friend you have is back in your hometown, because nobody up there is going to give you a
Musgrave trying for that first win. The only driver to ever secure his first win at Michigan, Dale Jarrett, August 1991. Wood Brothers. We're going to take a commercial break and be back with more of the action. They're closing Musgrave down. His lead diminishing. Can he hold it? We'll see. ...145 laps, 290 of the 400 miles complete here in the 29th running of the Michigan 400. And the battle, Musgrave in front. His lead has evaporated. It's now just a half second between himself and Mark Martin in second. Bill Elliott third, Irvin in fourth, Earnhardt fifth, and Gordon in sixth with Dale Jarrett seventh. You're riding with Kyle Petty. He's a lap down in that Hot Wheels rig back there in the 26th position at the present time. Now to update you on the stories here today, Jeff Gordon very much in this event. He's running in 6th spot after starting well back in the field. He wrecked his car yesterday, 9 o'clock in the morning, totaled out. He's right back in here, still looking to win for the first time at Michigan. 0 for 8 on this track. 6 times a winner this year, but he has yet to win here at Michigan. Dave Marcus has surpassed Petty's mileage milestone today. Of course, the fuel mileage story is still out. And Jeff Burton, wow, good, steady run. He led for 3 laps earlier today. He's injured, hurt in that crash with Jeff Gordon yesterday. But at the present time, the 99 is in 12th spot. And look at this. It's tightening up for the lead.
Martin has caught him.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Jack Roush has worn out a pair of shoes today. He owns the front 2 cars, plus Jeff Burton's. And Ken, I don't think you'll see a lot of racing between these two. Musgrave and Martin are teammates. If they link up, they might be able to drive away.
Hey guys, team rules. Would either of you pass a teammate? Huh?
You have to remember one thing. The winner of the race takes his money to his house. So that tells you about teammates. They want to beat each other too. And you look just behind him here, Bill Elliott's coming in a hurry. These team cars right now need to work together. If Mark Martin is indeed the fastest car, they don't need to run side by side because they got company coming from behind them.
1 through 4, Musgrave, Martin, Elliott, and Irvin. And you've got Earnhardt back there with Gordon in 5th and 6th for the Chevy contingent. Mark Martin turns up the wick. Here he comes, looking to the inside. Batesville, Arkansas, as Mark Martin slams it down into 1. Eases up through 2, and he's away into the lead. Explosive move by Mark Martin puts him into the front position.
But look what it did. Just that pass in that corner. Those 2 cars running side by side. 3rd and 4th closed right up on them. Look at Bill Elliott there in 3rd and Ernie Irvin in 4th there. They have moved right on the back bumper of the 2 lead cars.
The move by Mark Martin into the lead was the 22nd lead change. That's the 22nd. That's the most in this event since there were 31 lead changes back in '91. Oh, here comes Elliott. Slides it right through. Must be that Musgrave's having trouble on the bottom.
Well, I think the fact that he only took on 2 tires during that pit stop, Ken, it might be beginning to hurt him a little bit now.
Here comes Irvin, 4th, 3rd. Musgrave on the high side. Ernie Irvin in the 28, down to the bottom, just a digging. Comes up out of the hole in turn 4 and in the main straightaway, even across. Irvin's got him. Once you clear those front 4, considerable distance back to Earnhardt, Jarrett, and Gordon.
It's about 5 seconds. Jarrett just passed Gordon and now trying to pass Dale Earnhardt.
There they are, about 5 seconds back from the leaders. There you see Jarrett in the 88, who sat on the pole today at 183 miles an hour. Mike Joy.
Well, Ted Musgrave's car is fine. It's just, I think, Ken, that this set of tires maybe not matched up as well as the previous set. Ted has asked twice now, how long before we pit? 25 laps is the answer.
152 is the lap complete. All 3 Roush cars have had an opportunity to be out in front here thus far today, and Mark Martin, having just a dandy run at the present time, stays in the lead. Mark has said, I used to wonder why Richard Petty said the only place he could relax was behind the wheel. Now I'm beginning to understand the only place you're alone is when you're in that race car. He's out in front right now. Wonderful, lonely place to be. We'll continue after a message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 is sponsored by Budweiser, the classic American lager. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Mobil 1 100% synthetic motor oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
Laps running out. 156 now complete. And we've got a new leader. Bill Elliott is there. Here's what happened to put him in the first place.
Going into turn 1 here, and you see Mark Martin's going to go up a little bit, and Bill Elliott just drives right under him coming off turn 2 and drives away.
86 miles to go here in the Michigan 400. 86 to finish it up. And you've got a new leader in Bill Elliott, and he sure knows how to win this race. He won it in 84, 85, 86, and 89.
And in second place now is the 28 car of Ernie Irvin. He seems to be a match for Bill Elliott. You can see him going through the corner there. He's taking a little wider line through the corner, but seems to have great momentum down the straightaway.
Behind this quartet, however, Dale Jarrett is somewhat breaking away from Earnhardt and Gordon, and he's picking up time. He was better than 5 2/10 back. Now he's 4.5 back as he tries to close in on that front group of Elliott, Irvin, Martin, and Musgrave. Riding with that quality care car right now. You see how much distance he's built up over the cars of Earnhardt and Gordon. Battle for second. That's Irvin and Martin at it again. And we're watching the Fords go by up in front.
After Ted Musgrave gave up the lead to Ken, he dropped back to 4th, but he's been able to hang right with them there.
You know, I'm seeing something pretty interesting too. The first 5 cars are all Fords. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear a little song if they finish that way.
Of course, when he won those races here, he was driving for Harry Belling, a local fella from this part of the country. That added to his popularity up here in this part of the world. Right now, Bill Elliott working on that win. Such a frustrating period for him, but so many people relate to him. Look at Earnhardt and Gordon at it.
Gordon just passed Earnhardt going into turn 2, now trying to take it back away. That's for the 6th position, and he's got it. Now watch Gordon try to come back on the inside. He got up beside Earnhardt the last time, coming off turn 4. He's going to try it again.
Gordon back in 7th. Just behind him, Derek Cope is in 8th. Great run for Derek Cope today. Bobby Labonte back in 9th. Jeremy, excuse me.
Yeah.
A little thump bump out there. Talk about the bump and run. That's at 180. Here they go at it again. Look at this up in front.
Here comes Ernie Irvin on the inside to try to get the lead from Bill Elliott. You see Bill fighting back on the outside. This is going to get interesting as they head down the front straightaway. Mark's trying to decide, who am I going with? He goes with Irvin.
Uses up all of that 73 feet up there in that banking. What a great race. Ernie Irvin back in front. Now Elliott on the outside going to try him again. Around turn 2.
Oh boy, Bill Elliott's car is a rocket ship coming off the turn. You can see Ernie, he's right now just kind of regrouping, but look just behind there. Dale Jarrett is on the move.
88 is definitely closing on these 4. He has really trimmed it up now. He was better 5.5 seconds down. Now they show him as 4, and I think this time you're going to see it go under that. Bill Elliott leads this time by, looking for that first win since Darlington 1994. A famine that's reached 76 races for Bill Elliott could be over today. But Ernie Irvin, he's down on the inside. He's got his own scores to settle. Ernie Irvin, particularly with this track that nearly cost him his life. It cost him a year in recuperation, battling for the lead. Down to the inside goes Ernie Irvin, and the California driver is back in front.
He slid up in front of him that time, buddy.
Yeah, he had enough momentum getting into the corner, and when he got up just enough to get by Bill Elliott, he went right over, and now you can see him down this front straightaway now. You see him move to the inside, drafting. Looks like a Congo line coming down through there. Everybody following each other, trying to make time right now.
And Jarrett is still the fastest thing out here. Now it's 3 7/10 of a second. Back to Jarrett in 5th, closing on these 4 leaders as they continue to dice it up in the front. Irvin and Elliott and Martin and Musgrave, the front 4. Jarrett just outside. Earnhardt and Gordon having their own scores to settle further back among those Chevys.
And right now, Earnhardt has the advantage on Gordon by about a car length. They've switched that position back and forth several times.
Here is Dale Jarrett bringing that quality care Ford around, and this time, let's see if he's going to close any more time. Indeed he does. Getting down to 3.5 between himself and those front four. There you see the quartet that lead it. Ernie Irvan, 11th different leader of the Michigan 400 this afternoon. The record at Michigan, 15 back in 1982. We'll take a commercial break and get back with the action here in the Michigan 400. Stay with us on CBS.
This CBS Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Texaco, celebrating 10 years of racing excellence with Robert Yates Racing.
After 167 laps, 334 miles, 11 leaders, 24 lead changes, average speed 149.7, 3 caution periods, and the cars that have retired from the battle today: Kenny Wallace, Mike Skinner, Nemechek, and Jeff Bodine. Everybody else of the 43 starters still out here struggling on this beautiful 2-mile facility. Sold out for months, and what a show they're seeing as Ernie Irvan comes across to complete lap 169, and that means there's just 62 miles to go, and they should be pitting in about 5 laps. You have Irvan in front, Elliott second, Mark Martin third, Musgrave in fourth, and Jarrett continuing to close in fifth. Earnhardt is sixth, Gordon seventh, Cope is eighth. And for more on the pits and the pit strategy as we get close to that final fuel stop, let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, the pit window will open in 3 laps at lap 172. And this is critical, and a lot of it's based on the prior pit stop. Who will get 4 tires? Jeremy Mayfield has 2. Who will get 2 tires? That's Earnhardt's plan. Who will gamble and get gas only? We'll see. Ralph?
Well, Mike, it looks like Ricky Craven is going to be coming down pit road now. As far as Ted Musgrave is concerned, they're going to hold out to lap 180 before they bring him down. Whether or not he takes 4 tires or 2, they're not sure. Andy Graves and his crew awaiting Craven as he makes his way down pit road now. He is on his way to us. They will take 4 tires and a full fuel load. Dick Berggren?
Bill Elliott's crew is still trying to decide what they're going to do. At first, Mike Beam pointed 2 fingers up in the air, suggesting 2 tires. Then he waved his hand. He's really not sure. They're still discussing what they're going to do, but they can go to Ralph. Let's go back to Ralph.
Oh, Dick, they had a horrible pit stop here with Ricky Craven. He came in blazing down pit road, overshot the pit stall. They knocked crew members down on the right side. They're just getting around to the left side now and getting the fuel into the car. This is going to be a costly pit stop for Ricky Craven. It cost him at least 3 extra seconds.
Yeah, 25 seconds there, and he had the #1 pit. He was all the way on the bottom end of pit road. Big mistake for the Craven team.
Here's that battle continuing between Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. This time Gordon tries to take the measure of Earnhardt going into turn 3, and he does it. Let's see if he slides up the racetrack.
You know what Earnhardt's doing? He's coming in the pits. It looks like he's way down on the racetrack. He's coming in as I speak.
You're exactly right, buddy.
From 6th spot, Dale Earnhardt, twice a winner here in this 400. Eases onto pit road. He's had a brilliant day thus far. Mike Joy.
Can't remember last pit stop. They took on 4 tires and gave up track position so that this time they could do it with just 2. Larry McReynolds would not discuss the tire stop on the radio. He said, watch for my hand signal. So Earnhardt pits well out away from the wall in case they want to get 4 tires. The right sides are on. I don't see any left side tires up on the wall. It is just a 2-tire change. Earnhardt's away.
11.1. Earnhardt back underway. Great stop.
You can see a little gash there on the right front corner of the valence on the front of Earnhardt's car. Hopefully it won't create a push in the car because the air will get up under there and make the front end try to lift.
Leaders: Irvan, Elliott, Martin. Lap 173, Wallace is on pit road. The #2 car of Rusty Wallace, defending champion, running 18th. traveled at 166 miles an hour to set the 400-mile record. Now in the pits, and here comes Mark Martin in. The third place car is pitting. That'll move Musgrave up into third and Jarrett into fourth.
Oh, Jarrett's coming into the pits.
Here's Jarrett on pit road, indeed.
So let's see if they'll take two like Earnhardt did.
Gordon's coming in as well.
Bobby Labonte, Derek Cope. All of those drivers been battling for position.
Hutch Strickland makes his way on pit road. He's a lap down at 22nd. Mike?
Mark Martin will get only 2 tires, Ken. He's going to get the right sides. They are through with the gas. He is down. He is ready to go. Here, Dale Jarrett gets right sides as well. Quick clean of the grill. Dick Berggren
came in, and surprisingly, Jeff Gordon took just 2 tires. He had been complaining the car has been pushing. Worst it's been all day. We expected to see him take 4. He took 2. Bill Elliott's crew is getting ready. He will be in soon.
Ernie Irvin's coming in right now, Dick. Mike Joy.
Ernie Irvin comes in, and they were discussing on the radio with Mark Reno. He said, well, we couldn't get 2. He said, maybe we could get away with none. They've decided for 2. It's going to be right side tires for Mark Reno's crew and Ernie Irvin. Car up in the air, 1 can of gas already in. Right side lug nuts hammered home. Ernie's down and away.
Well, Rusty Wallace come in the pits, went right out, went 1 lap around, come back into the pits.
Wallace back underway. Took a second pit stop. 50 miles to go. Here's Dick Berggren.
And Bill Elliott is on pit road right now. He's got a ways to go, but not too terribly far. He has stretched the fuel mileage and is among the last of the leaders to pit. Elliott now coming down. Joe Garoni is going to be on the fronts. Gerald Shires is on the rears. The jackman is Rodney Rhodes. It is unlikely that this is going to be anything like a lengthy stop. It's a 2-tire change for Elliott. Having trouble getting it going. That last tiny bit of gas cost him. And
Jeremy Mayfield just getting in.
And Rusty Wallace coming down pit road 1 more time. Is he getting maybe a black flag for going too fast on pit road? Going out of pit road apparently he's going too fast. So that's costing Rusty Wallace.
That's the second one if it is. I guess he didn't like it, went out, and they said, well, we didn't like what you did again, so come back in again.
It was a stop and go. Terry Labonte many laps down, just in behind him. Here's Mike. Let's go back to Mike Joy on pit road.
Ken, we're trying to find out what has happened to Rusty Wallace with these multiple pit stops. Too fast on pit road is the word from the NASCAR officials. A black flag penalty, that'll take him out of the chase.
Sure does. Guess who's in front? There's Wallace out of this race. But this man, very much in it. Can he hold on to win his first ever Winston Cup event? Ted Musgrave now in command. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Ken, they're really on the radios down here at Vernon Hub trying to decide what to do to Musgrave's car. James Ince, the crew chief, has been on the radio with Ted every time by. They're trying to decide how much of a lead they can get by taking no tires. They might try to just get gas and go all the way. They're scheduled to come in within 2 laps.
Let's see, it may be right now. He's in. Here's the key moment for Musgrave. No tires, just a drop of fuel, and on his way with 48 miles to go.
Come on. Come on. Get all you can get.
Back to Ralph Shaheen.
Let's go.
They're waiting in the pit stall. Here he comes.
Here we are. Let's get him, Rick.
Ted Musgrave brings the number 16 to a stop. They go for fuel. They will not change tires. Gas man putting the fuel in there.
Let's go. Let's go hard. Go hard, man.
They take
go hard. Run as hard as you can there.
One tank full, and he's on his way. Just 1 can going into the car.
6 4/10 seconds for a tank of fuel.
Okay, here goes Ernie Irvin. He's going to pass him as he comes off of turn 2 as Musgrave gets his speed up. Ernie, when all the pit stops are made, is going to take the lead, and I think he just did as they come off the turn 2 and head down the backstretch. Ernie's going to have a pretty good lead over the 16 car of Ted Musgrave. The next car in line would be the 94 of Bill Elliott. He's not too far behind Musgrave.
So we're through that final pit stop period. We'll reset the field when we return. Today's aerial shots are being provided by the Bud One airship, which reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. And the shots that Bud one is getting right now is of Ernie Irvan in front, and then the battle further back in second, Elliott with Musgrave as they do the tighten up. And here comes a little traffic problem for the leader, Ernie Irvan.
That's Ernie Irvan getting down in the corner there. He's in lap traffic. You see Hut Strickland in the 8 there. Ernie is handling anywhere he wants to go. Looks like right now he can do anything on the racetrack he wants to. But let me tell you, Bill Elliott is coming with a head of steam now in second place.
41-12, leader running 40-90.
Elliott around Musgrave, closing down on Ernie Irvan.
That was the spotter or the crew chief of Ted Musgrave that we heard say he's running about 1/10 of a second slower than Ernie Irvan.
You see Ernie Irvan up there in front. Elliott trying to close in on him. Ernie Irvan has said, I've got to get more finesse. I feel I'm a good race driver when I'm aggressive, but that's such a fine line. Just got to walk the bottom edge of the line instead of the top edge of the line. Here's Irvan, ever closer to winning on the track that bit him and bit him so bad back here in 1994.
Still running 40-90. You can hear his driver telling him every lap what he's doing.
That was the 16 car that ran the 49. Ernie ran a 40-65.
Right. You know, you have to remember Ernie Irvan had Dover in this grasp, and going into turn 1, he hit oil and turned around. He's had several runs that he could have won this year, and all of a sudden he got in trouble. So if he wins, he certainly earned it, because this car has been dominant most of the day today. It's been the quickest car out there on several occasions.
The 91 winner of the Daytona 500, Ernie Irvan, that much closer across another lap. What's that, 186 complete now of the 200 to be run. Will it be his? Can Elliott close him down?
Almost 3 seconds, Ken.
Yep. Musgrave back there in third. Martin is in fourth. Jarrett deployed fifth. Then perched in sixth is Gordon, followed by Earnhardt in seventh. Derek Colby's in eighth. Bobby Labonte ninth. And Jeff Burton, what a story on Jeff Burton. He's in the top 10. Jeff Burton hurt yesterday, taken from this track to the hospital. They thought he'd broken a shoulder, broken some ribs. X-rays were negative. He comes back out here today, and Jeff Burton has driven just a magnificent race to stay right up in the hunt, in the top 10. It's Father's Day battle. Johnny Benson's 11th. Blake Speed is in 12th, and Jeremy Mayfield 13th, as you see.
Ricky Rudd 14th, Jimmy Spencer 15th, Michael Waltrip 16th, Sterling Marlin 17th, 18th is Ricky Craven.
That's Kim looking on. Kim Irvan looking on, watching that guy in 28. Nursed him back to health after that horrible crash, given a 10% chance of life after his crash here in 1994, and Irvan's out to get revenge. That's great right now. And in 96, he walked away from a terrible crash in Charlotte in the 500. Suffered a concussion. Right back at it again.
His last win was at Richmond, Virginia last September. Had 2 wins in 1996.
Yeah, beat some guy named Jarrett up there in New Hampshire.
That was his first win after his comeback.
And that was no gimme. There you see Robert Yates looking on.
Oh man, sweating.
You can see he's concerned about something.
Mike Joy.
He's in conversation with the crew. Robert, you and Ernie both told me yesterday you need to get to a point. Just telling Ernie it's 10 laps to go next time by. You told me yesterday you need to get to a point where you have a car that's a consistent winner for Ernie. You had a winning potential car at Dover. Looks like you got a good one here today.
Yeah, you know, we're pretty gun shy of that deal, so we get these 10 laps. A lot of decisions would have to be made to get a caution right now. Just hope we don't get a caution, hope we got the brakes, hope we don't slip on them by oil.
I think they found what they're looking for, Ken.
Yeah, they don't want any slip in the oil here.
He is increasing his lead.
Yep. Pulled it out to better than 3 3/10 right now. Robert Yates going for his 4th win at Michigan. He had 2 with the late Davey Allison, 1 with Dale Jarrett. Can it go that distance? 10 to go. Ernie Irvan, who crashed so hard head on here in turn number 2, better than 180 miles an hour in practice back in 94. 10% chance of making it through it. And here he is having just a great day.
Mark Martin has caught Ted Musgrave for the 3rd position as we watch Ernie come up on traffic. It's Wally Dallenbach who is running in the 20th position. 20 cars are on the lead lap. And there's that battle for 3rd.
Take a look at Musgrave and Martin back here. That's for 3rd. Elliott's in 2nd. This is for position. Number 16, Musgrave. Number 6, Martin. And here you see that Hot Wheels number 44, Kyle Petty's car, about to be lapped once again, running in 27th position. Schrader going down a lap right there. He's in 28th.
You can see Kyle Petty, the guy up here probably called him on the radio, said the leader's coming up, give him plenty of room. You see Kyle Petty, good sportsmanship, moving down to the bottom of the racetrack. Ernie goes right by on the outside.
Jeff Gordon is back there in 6th. Looks like he's going to be 0 for 9 at Michigan. He's won 6 times this year, but this one doesn't work for him.
There will be a shakeup in the point standings. Terry Labonte had problems. He just took his car back to the garage. Running any more laps would not help him any, so he just took her back to the garage.
Terry Labonte, 57 laps down, hot tire, slapped the wall, was in for almost, 45 minutes. He was tied with Jeff Bodine coming into today's 14th race as they prepare to head to California and a brand new 2-mile track built very similar to this Michigan facility.
You know, this is why they say it's never over until it's over. You see Ernie Irvan there. He's going by lap traffic right now, and when he goes to that high side, you hope they know he's out there.
Yep, and he's around up there in that turn, too, where it almost completely stopped for him, weaving his way through traffic. If he returned, would it be fair to Kim? Kim probably answered that better than anyone. She said, this is his life. I am happy with his life, and I want to see him do what makes him happy.
Well, you could see Kim really nervous there. Believe it or not, the women are much more nervous than the guys out there doing their job. They're doing everything they can to win the race, but these people are the ones that really get their nerves pulled on.
1993. Ernie Irvan replaced Davey Allison in that Texaco Haviland with Robert Yates T-Bird when Davey Allison was killed at Talladega. Take a look here. 5th and 6. Jeff Gordon up on the outside of the pole sitter. Jarrett by him. That's for 5th.
They're catching the Ted Musgrave car. It's running in 4th place. But if they race side by side back there, they won't have much of a chance of catching. But I don't believe they're going to be side by side when they come off of that turn. Gordon's got the advantage on the high side and pulls away.
Sure looks like it's over as far as Gordon's concerned today. Be 0 for 9 as he goes to August. Yep, 6 wins, but not 1 here. Ernie Irvan going for career win number 15. He has never won at Michigan. In 2nd to Earnhardt, 1990. Laps away. 5 to go.
4, I believe.
4 to go this time by. Ernie Irvan settles in. I don't think anybody ever showed more class than in Talladega 1991 when he got up and apologized to the entire driving group at the driver's meeting. He said, I've been driving over my head. I've been too aggressive at times. I've lost the respect of some of you and the car owners, and that really hurts me, and I'm going to be more patient. Gosh, he's been patient today, but he's been on the hammer when he needed to be.
I got to tell you something. He's not patient. Yeah. He's running that car for everything it's worth every lap.
But he's
just drawing away from Bill Elliott.
But he has conquered that over-aggressiveness that at one time he was faulted for. This is a beautiful run by Ernie Irvan. And look at Bill Elliott here in 2nd spot. My, they're going to be proud of him down in Georgia tonight. 3 laps to go. Ernie Irvan is on his way. Can he hold on to it for 3? Win his first race at Michigan? Interval is 3 6/10 of a second to Elliott in 2nd spot. Martin lies in 3rd. Musgrave is 4th. Jeff Gordon has clambered back all the way at the rear. crashed yesterday, if you're just joining us in practice, destroyed his car for this race. Had to take a backup car from the rear of the field. He's back to 5th. Dale Jarrett in 6th, who's set in the pole at 183 miles an hour. Derek Cope, former Daytona champion, he's up to 7th, and Earnhardt relegated to 8th. Bobby Labonte, the 95 winner, is back there in 9th. And Jeff Burton, boy, if you give a special award for bravery and guts, you give it to Jeff Burton today, driving hurt and driving well.
I would say Robert Yates has told him, you've got it right now. Don't do anything to give this race away. You see him with Ricky Craven there. He drafted up on him on the back straightaway. Yeah, I tell you what, if he's holding anything back, he's doing a good job of it because he's putting Craven a lap down as he takes a white flag.
18th place car, Ricky Craven goes 1 lap down. His wife Kim looks on. He's willing to let him go.
That's smart. Very smart.
Final lap. The number 28 stays in first. 3.5 seconds back to Bill Elliott. And for Ernie Irvan, a guy who gave everything nearly, just about everything, 10% chance of living after that crash in 94 right here in turn 2. Here he comes around, headed for checkers. Ernie Irvan is finally going to win the track that nearly did him in. Ernie Irvan for the checkered flag, and he's won the Michigan 400.
That's a great thing. Boy, it's good to see.
Bill Elliott for 2nd, Mark Martin for 3rd. Bill Elliott, he's stomping again and looking great. Mark Martin in 3rd, Musgrave is 4th, Gordon is 5th. Dale Jarrett's going to settle for 6th. How about that performance by Ernie Irvan? We'll take a commercial break and be back to meet the champion in the Michigan 400, the 7th different winner this year. Back with you at Michigan Speedway. Ernie Irvan about to clamber out of his car after his sensational victory today. August 20th, 1994, the hardest battle he ever fought, the fight for survival after that crash in turn 2 at this track. And today, this race belongs to him. Here's Mike Jordan.
Ernie Irvan climbs out of his Robert Yates Thunderbird. Ernie, this track nearly took your life. Today, you took something back from it, a big win.
I'll tell you, it's pretty emotional. Started about 10 laps to go, started getting tears in my eyes. I tell you, it's great. Only in America, you know what I mean? This Texaco Havoline Ford race team, all the sponsors are unbelievable. And this is the best place to do it. This is Ford Motor Company. You know, this is their home base in Detroit, and it's great.
A lot of people maybe had written you off after the crash. After this year went along here without a win, people were saying he's moving on, he might not be here, and you told me yesterday what you've got to do is win consistently. You took a big step today.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, you know, it's a lot easier to get sponsors to rally behind you when you win, and you know, we've been real close this year, but it's just a matter of some bad luck. And you know, the only way we can get good luck is just keep preparing ourselves and be able to get good race cars every day.
You said Happy Father's Day to your dad coming around. Kim Irvan, how big a day is this for the Irvan family?
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
It'd be more exciting if Jordan was here, but she's probably watching on TV. Hi, Jordan, and you know, wish you were here, but we'll see her tonight.
Okay, Robert Yates with Ernie Irvan and family in Victory Lane. We'll be back to Michigan International Speedway to celebrate further after this.
Join us later here on CBS at the USA Track and Field Championships live from Indianapolis. You'll see golden oldies like Jackie Joyner-Kersee in the women's long jump and a freshly minted medalist, fresh from the Atlanta Olympics, gold medalist Derek Adkins in the 400 hurdle. Coming up next here on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 is sponsored by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. And by Econo Lodge, Spend the night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge.
Let's meet the man who came in second today with Dick Berger.
What a great run Bill Elliott had. Best run here since 1989. You almost got him.
Well, the McDonald's Ford ran well. Dadgummit, it's just one of them days. I mean, I'm tickled to death for Ernie. He ran good all day long, and I knew he was going to be one of the cars to beat. He was awful strong. You know, and even though he was back, I never did really race him there till we got close to the end. You know, he was racing along with them other guys, and you know, he was a little bit better, but the way it shook out there, you know, when he got ahead, he was just hard to beat, man. My car got just a little bit tight, but, man, these guys have worked hard. And, you know, with everybody that's been involved with this deal, I'm just tickled to death where we're at.
And he should be, because last year he missed this race out with a broken leg. What a difference a year makes. Ken?
Okay, Bill Elliott in for second. Let's take a look at the final results. Ernie Irvan won from 20th spot today. That's the furthest back anyone's come in the 400. Only one man, Harry Gant, came from further back in the August race in 24th. There you see Jarrett back there in the 6th position. There was a big change just at the end. We had Jeff Burton in 10th. 100 yards from the finish line, he ran out of fuel, fell to 14th. Jeremy Mayfield moving up in there. Lake Speed had a great run today.
But all of these 18 cars were on the lead lap. Craven almost went a lap down there at the end, but he hung on. And these cars now that we're seeing are drivers were one lap down.
Or more as we get further back in here now. Chad Little qualified 23rd, finished 25th on the afternoon. Rusty Wallace had his problems and ended up well back before it was over.
He had some unscheduled pit stops, and so did all of these drivers that we're seeing right here. You see Terry Labonte, who was tied for the points. He finishes way down, 39th place.
And Jeff Gordon leads the points by 46 over Mark Martin now. Terry Labonte falling to third, 109 behind. And Ernie Irvan jumped from 18th to 13th today in that point battle here in the Michigan 400. Wow. What a thrilling, spectacular day of motorsports we've had for you on CBS as we have Ernie Irvan still being celebrated in Victory Lane. So for Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker, Mike Joy, Dick Berggren, and Ralph Shaheen, Ken Squire saying so long from the Michigan Speedway, where Ernie Irvan has won the 1997 Michigan 400. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the Daytona 500.